Danfo offers unparalleled, curated and bespoke tours across Africa for travelers seeking genuine cultural experiences, enriched with magnificent sights, sounds and flavors found on the continent. Each trip is reliably curated to ensure visitors are gifted with an immersive and authentic adventure. Whether you find yourself strolling along the charming white sand beaches of Sierra Leone, feasting on the mouth-watering delicious foods in Senegal, observing or partaking in various aspects of the Isheshi traditional system Ifa native to Yoruba land, Nigeria, with Danfo, you will rediscover a fulfilling sense of kinship to the true heart of the motherland, her communities. Our core values focus on integrity, quality, safety, and sustainability. We are uniquely committed to assisting with the advancement of African infrastructure and promoting African businesses, so both travelers and the communities they visit receive beneficial exchanges. At Danfo, we understand the importance of connectivity, and we have created a model which provides bespoke experiences based on your passions or hobbies. With us, expect a long-lasting spiritual bond between you and your destinations. Live, love, Danfo, Africa. To learn more, visit danfo.africa.
Peace, family. We are live again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. Thank you all. Thanks so much for joining. Hit that like button again. Please hit that like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. I will greatly appreciate it. Got a couple of announcements before we get started. Well, we kind of are started already, but I mean, really get started with tonight's topic. Which I mean, the answer to tonight's topic, like, there's really two answers. All right, we already covered one of the answers, but we'll cover that again. And then I got another answer. I found the solution. I found the answer. And it was hiding in plain sight. Is that the right phrase? It was hiding in plain sight this whole entire time. But before we get started, y'all, I need y'all to buy the documentary. You know the drill. Again, I need y'all to buy the documentary. Go and visit Danfo, that's DANFO .Africa, okay? Go to danfo.africa and you're going to click documentary. Again, go to danfo.africa and click documentary, all right? And buy the documentary. Also, we are rolling to Zanzibar next month. September 20th through the 29th, we're rolling to Zanzibar. Then we're going to Kenya, September 30th to October 8th. Then we're hitting up Ghana and Ivory Coast, November 8th to the 19th. And then we're going to Sierra Leone, November 20th to the 29th. And then after that, we're doing Benin for the Voodoo Festival. That is going to be in January. So if you're interested in joining us, please visit Danfo, that's DANFO .Africa, to learn more. Without further ado, all right, I want to play. Let me pull this video back up because this is answer number one. All right, this is. Okay, I got to call them back. All right, this is answer. So the topic is the real reason some Black Americans claim to be Aboriginal to America. All right, so this right here, because Grandma just didn't know better, and it's partly not her fault, really. But I expect you guys to do better, and let Grandma know that, hey, Grandma, that's not the case. But this right here, oops, wrong screen. This is answer number one right here. Let's pull this up. Not wrong button. Here we go. Here we go.
Kept secret in America.
So this is the answer to it. Number one. We played this already. So he's the chief of the
So we went.
there we go. Everything about Africa, especially in the South. There we go. All right. So that's number one. Number two, I want to pull up another video. In fact, I want to see if I can find my actual video that I did on this. Let's see here. That was in Ivory Coast. Here we go. So this is the video I did. I don't know the minute mark, so I kind of let's just find another video on this. But I thought about this today. And I'm like, this is in every single slave dungeon for the most part. Here we go. Oh, shout out to Prince Jay. I actually know Prince Jay. Man, it's been 7 years.
You asked for protein, and we went big.
Here I am standing next to a monument that represents a tree that stood at that site.
Hold on, let me guys, give me a second. Let me. And I actually know Prince Jay personally. Here we go. Okay, here we go.
Here I am standing next to a monument that represents a tree that stood at that site, on that site at one time. It was called the Tree of Forgetfulness.
Tree of Forgetfulness. Okay, we're gonna circle back to that.
And this tree is on the old slave road, the road that the Africans departing from that old slave port city of Ouida, Benin, and I understand there were 2 million of them, were forced to stop at. There they met the king of the Dahomey Empire. And the men were forced to walk around this tree 9 times and the women 7 times. And at the end, the king would tell them that they must forget their identity in Africa. They must forget who they are, their homes, what they were there, their family, everything that they knew in their prior life, and accept this bondage, accept the sacrifice they are making for the common good, because their bondage would permit the empire to buy weapons to fight their enemies. So I went to the site with a mission, with a goal in mind, with my newfound African family, to transmute the pain and suffering, to reframe it and look at it with fresh eyes. So I walked in reverse, in the opposite direction that they were forced to walk in, to symbolize the return of my family, restoring us not only to our royal line, but also to our ancestral home. They asked me to make a statement about what and how I felt. And I have to tell you that this was one of the most gut-wrenching things I saw in that old slave port city, including the tree, the gate of no return. It was a heart-stopping moment for me. Following is the statement that I made with my newfound African family standing behind me. I recalled the stories that my father told me that were passed down, and you read the history books. African Americans of their age, going back to whenever my ancestor came over, were treated like animals. They had no rights. They were denied all the rights and privileges of life in the United States and in other parts of the Americas.
Then you go hard on the woman. But emi go see fee. Emi o melele on lele we jere high. People be getting go see Africa go America be beating. But you tell you ko mo nu je me me. De le ka kin bo de mo je mo ko. E ko ni mo yo no. Ye o. No do re emi le ku Africa no.
You can't erase that type of pain and suffering. As I said, it's transmitted from your ancestors through your DNA.
Donc, mais si tout nous aussi, c'est là, aussi les nous aussi, il y a donc comme tu l'as dit, à vie il y a moins que nous aussi réponse c'est le conseil meilleur, nous avons une conseil meilleur, mais nous aussi nous devons.
But what you can do is look at it through fresh eyes in a different way.
Ok, mais nous devons c'est plus d'autres de mais n'attends comme ça bon à deux moments.
And coming here to sites like this, that you can help purge that pain and suffering from your soul.
Nous n'avons pas une loi de fleur et bédine, une loi de fleur et bédine, et nous avons fait nous y a témé, boy, ça nous met tout les bons messés, nous aimons voir aussi sur le fil d'union, et nous avons fait nous en ligne dans le cours pour temps.
And to connect with your family here on the continent of Africa, like I've done, has already helped ease that pain and sorrow and lift it from my soul.
Bon, nous avons mis comme présent, nous avons que bédé, la tête comme on a battu, quand tchatchatchere, tout les mecs d'Afrique, bédé, de la dawa, quand il fait des boys, il tête comme kawan go, c'est-à-dire, au fait, il fait pour haïti, il a des vénions, il was pas tête comme kawan, bédé, et nous avons.
I'm going to take a step further in doing that today by walking in reverse around the street. As the departing men that were committed to slavery did, except I'm going to walk around it in reverse to signify that I've returned. And I'm going to now intone the name of my father, first my grandfather, and my great-grandfather.
Donc, même il est quand il sens diomètre sans connaissance de mes délais on a donc là que Emile ko wa Emile ni oblo e tori to gbo mi ton tu da gbo mi ton tu tori to mi ton tu.
And I believe that the spirit and presence of my father, grandfather, and great-grandfather are here today. Along with their spouses. So would you say their names as I repeat them? Henry Spates.
Henry Spates.
Henry Spates.
Henry Spates. Henry Spates.
Rosemary Spates.
Rosemary Spates. Rosemary Spates.
James Spates.
James Spates.
Lizzie Spates.
Lizzie Spates.
Louis Spates.
Louis Spates.
Now I want to walk around 9 times in reverse. And I just want to say to other African Americans that visit this site, to do this, and I think it's only fitting that it be reversed as much as possible.
Donc,
My bad, I was muted. So Prince Spates is doing the so this is an African American, Black American, I know him personally, who traces roots back to Alada, Benin, which is the same place where Toussaint Louverture is from, the famous revolutionary Haitian war hero. He traces roots back there and was crowned a prince as well. So what's going on here? You had Ouida, which is one of the major slave ports during slavery in Dahomey, which is present day Benin Republic. You have Slave Road. In fact, we're going to Benin in January for the Voodoo Festival. You have Slave Road, which is the road you march to the boats. So there was a tree of forgetfulness. So what would happen on your way to the slave ships on Slave Road? They will march you around the tree so you would forget what happened. So this is my theory. A lot of y'all who are claiming to be Indians, again, a lot of y'all who are claiming to be Indians, this ritual, it affected you. And this happened at all the slave dungeons that I've been to. There was always a ritual of forgetfulness. And so what happened, a lot of you, I'm not African, I'm Aboriginal. These rituals, when you got on them shits for some reason, when you landed in America, your ancestors for some reason thought, y'all was Native American. Y'all just y'all switched to Native American. That's what happened. Y'all switched to Aboriginal. And that's part of the reason why, also along with the president of the Mardi Gras Indian Committee, saying that it was forbidden to be African, rituals like this was just passed down through y'all DNA. Again, rituals like this is what is just passed down through some of y'all DNAs, and now y'all claiming to be indigenous aboriginals. So that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. Some of y'all, they marched around the tree, and it just passed down through y'all DNA. Now y'all claiming that your grandma said you guys are Aboriginal Indians. So what needs to happen, we need to take y'all back to Africa and do what Prince James is doing, Prince Space is doing. March you around that tree in reverse. That's what we need to do. That's what needs to happen. Go ahead, Colin.
Yeah, Diane, this is my favorite subject, dealing with my Aboriginal Negroes and whatnot, Choctaw, chicken wing, nigga. I told you about this years ago, right, Diana? You didn't think it was going to blow up like this, right? Remember when I first met you, I told you there was a clown. I told you about deadly clowns.
Yeah.
You know, I told you about that. I tried to do like Chief Chicken Hawk. Remember the guy with the feather? Remember that? That was 8 years ago. We
Mm-hmm.
didn't. We thought it would die off, and I thought the Wakanda thing. We like this, but let me tell you something, man. See, people, we underestimate the degradation black people. I said this a long time ago, and I'm gonna tell this story again. If you don't know, I call it the Alibaba culture, right? Everything you see, the Moors, the Hebrews, all these things were designed to black people to escape the reality of being a black African descent. Being black on these shores of America mean you're dead, you're a slave. So anything that basically that's ambiguous, like a Native American or anything you're a Hindu, whatever like that, will get you out of that bracket of or where you're seen as just a human being. Where it's basically all the talk we talk about with civil rights and everything like that, our basic humanity has never been respected. And you can only respect people are only respected by force. No one can give you that by no piece of paper. That's why you always hear these people talk about, we're going to get our status change corrected. Nobody could change. They're waiting for a white man to give them a status. What status change? We got to change our status. You know, we were tall Negroes, and when the white man called us this. So they basically do not have any thing other than outside what the white man says. And I'm gonna say this: there was a case in the 1860s, right, where there was this one black man. He was brown skinned. He was in I think it was Missouri, and he basically passed. He put a turban on his head, and he passed for a Hindu, and he was able to escape slavery. You know, he went around. People asked him what about like because he was brown enough, where he said, "No, I'm from India," whatever like that. So he was able to escape through the slave line and get the free territory. He wrote about it years ago, later, and later on, that's where the groups like the Noble Drew Ali and the Temple, you know, all those things came out, where people were trying to escape slavery by you saying that they were Moors and there were all these other things, not Native Americans. They were Moors. They whatever it was, and so this is what you have. And what gets me is a lot of times when people join these cults, like on 125th Street and whatnot, they think they're joining some Black Power movement. No, they're not. You're joining these self-hate cults that have been around for a long time. This is nothing new. These people hate being African. They do not like being African. I would even go so far as to say the Nation of Islam was in that group too. They do not like being called African. They do not like it called African because the bottom line, they believe in the white man's version of what they think an African is, something inferior. You know, that's all I want to say for right now.
All right, go ahead, Elvis.
All right. Thank you, Donis. Hello to you and Carla in the chat. Look, my mind is kind of changed on this topic, and I'm gonna take a different perspective on it. So what we call generational curse, in Africa, we believe in things like that, that some people lineages are cursed based on what their ancestors did. In this instance, if you have a group of people whose mind were made to forget their heritage, their lineage, through some magical ritual. If you, Diners, believe in those things, I know you're kind of a traditionalist and you believe in African spirituality. So I'm sure you believe that these things do and can happen and can have an effect on a person. So if that is in fact true, then it's not their fault in a way because they were made to forget. So they're searching for everything but the right answer. They're going to find everything but the right answer to who they are. Instead of saying, well, I am an African, acknowledging, I am an African and reconnecting with their ancestral lineage, they're going to attach themselves to everything else but Africa because they have some quote unquote magical spell that is still permeating through their lineage to this day. So when you look at that, these people are truly victims. If you look at it from that perspective, that they were made to forget.
I think they're mentally ill.
Yeah, you can say that, but I'm saying on a serious note, and that is perhaps Dynasty. Hold on, Kyla, please. Let me finish this, right? And Dynasty, maybe you could chime in. I know you believe in some of these things, but if it's having an effect on them, and that spiritual, I don't know if it's a curse or ritual or whatever the thing is that's still tied to them, will you then blame them if that ritual actually was successful and still have effect on their present lineage? Would it not be something that they can fight? Oh, Carla, you gotta just give me 10 more seconds. Let me flesh it out and then you can ask me,
Oh,
please.
this is a bigger point. I just wanted to ask you a question, right? Let's say that's true, right? They're victims, right? But if you're a victim, right? It don't seem like they're victims to me. They seem like they're victimizing because they're picking fight with actual Native Americans. They're going around telling Native Americans they don't know nothing about their rituals. The Native Americans tell you their dances, their rituals, everything. They can't tell you any language.
Carla, I hear you, right? Let me just get the floor back. Hold on. So as an African person, and Dias perhaps is in that word, when you have a spell, some people call it a spell, right? Or somebody casts something on you. Some people become a shell of themselves. They become, like an empty shell. They can't really fully articulate or fully think, with their five, with their four faculties as a person. So if somebody is living under a quote unquote curse of forgetfulness, you can't expect them to function in a rational way. But again, I wanted to say, Don, is I don't think it was every slave that left the continent, or every enslaved person that left the continent that went around that tree. I think in certain places, maybe they didn't have that ritual. So some people kind of remember who they were. But like you said, it might be some people who come from lineages that did go through it, and maybe they are affected by that, that ritual today. So they don't want to attach themselves to African because they're under some kind of spiritual bondage or spiritual, covenant that they can attach themselves to anything but Africa because that's what
It's
the
long,
ritual called for.
that
So
was long.
I want to get your take. What on Carl? I just want to get Donnie's take. I know he's into that stuff. I'm an African. I know these things do happen, but would Dinus give some leeway to these people if they are in fact under such a curse, so to speak, or a ritual? Are you there, Dinus?
My bad, I'm here. But you can always undo the spell as well. And we're giving people, and we're showing the people the way, but they still want to live in this lie that they are the aboriginals. And
Right.
like Kyla said, not only say that they're aboriginals, create this false narrative that, oh, they're aboriginals. And somebody has some feedback. That's you, Kyla. Create this narrative, this false narrative that they are the original aboriginals, and that the Native Americans, they're the Siberians. I mean, they just go down this rabbit hole. So I think now in 2026, it's an excuse.
And it's
All
getting
right. I don't know if anybody's ever been enchanted, because Dinus, I'm sure you heard about it. Maybe if you've seen it in person. If someone is enchanted, it takes almost like a reversal of that enchantment for that person to be released. So
Right.
if people were brought
Exactly.
across,
Exactly. That's my point. Exactly.
so you saying that people know how to do this work, and again,
Well,
these
well,
people.
well, well, we're showing them the way, but at the same time, you have to deal with reality that grandma was wrong. I mean, I don't know what else to
Well,
say.
grandma may have been under that spell that the Africans put on their ancestors
I
to
understand,
forget
but
them,
oh,
to
Elvis,
forget their
Elvis,
roots.
we're in 2026.
So you don't think it's under effect anymore? It had a limit or something?
I think now it's just pure ignorance.
Okay. I
yeah.
pass the mic. I want to hear somebody else. I pass the mic.
All right, go
My
ahead.
is
Go
let me
ahead,
finish
Colin. I'll pass it to Steve.
before we say before. Look, the bottom line is this. Like I said, y'all listen to these people talk and whatnot, and not only do they pick fights with the real Native Americans, right? They're all every time like when somebody does a picture, and I'll tell people all the time, yeah, I'm African American, right? That don't mean I'm a continental African. I'll give you that. Okay, we have a different culture. But what they're saying is we did not come from Africa at all. They always start off now talking about picking fights with Africans online, talk about and y'all got this thing talk about we're slave descendant, we're not slave descendant, we were already here. These people have made up a completely different narrative, right? It's sick. And what's going to happen when these people get older, right? When you believe that, these people get older. You'll see people when they're mentally like this. By the time they're like 6 years old, they're going to be in a mental asylum because their whole life you in your life you have to balance things out. When you're young, you do things as a young person. You better yourself, you better your life, you do things like that, and you read and you like this. But when you're stuck on a lie and you're trying to do everything you can, and you get triggered by black people sitting there talking about, oh yeah, I went to Ghana last year. Why are you going to Ghana? What does that got to do with you? Yeah, I'm a Navajo, Choctaw, Indian, and whatnot. They're in every comment section. Literally fighting and picking fights with black people who decide, something. Yeah, I do identify with Africa. I'm African, whatever like that. No, we're not. No, you're not. Okay, if you don't believe it, why is it that you look? Some of these people, if they were in front of you, Dinus, they would physically hurt you. They would literally hurt you. Am I lying, Dinus?
No,
Some people feel so strongly about that. If they see you with your African garb on, Diners, they would jump you. That's how dangerous this is. This is what you're dealing with. And so, therefore, like I said, it's a mental disease. And I don't play with it at all. That's why I said I don't tell you what to do with your show, but when people come up here with this nonsense, people know not to call my show with that nonsense. I'll kick them right off. I don't want to hear it. You are Black African. It's accepted with the good, with the bad. Yes, we was at the bottom of this social order. The African was at the bottom of the social order. You had the whites, then you had the mestizos, then after the mestizos, you had the mulattoes, then you had the Native Americans. On the bottom of the social order was the Black Africans. Now deal with that. Now deal with that. You know what I'm saying? Now, if what happens is black people don't want to overturn white supremacy. They just want a better position in white supremacy. That's why they want to call themselves Native Americans, because that gives them one up on people who call themselves Africans. That's all it is. That's all it is. You don't want to overturn white supremacy. You want a little comfort inside of white supremacy by taking on a new identity. That's all. And I pass the mic.
All right, go ahead, Steve.
Okay, shout out the host and everyone on the panel and the chat. I just want to give a little pushback to Elvis, right? I mean, I understand where you're coming from about, curse and all this other stuff, right? But we were not the only ones that went through the slave trade. It's like, I don't really see this coming from Haitians. I don't really see it coming from Caribbean. I don't really see it coming from South Americans as far as if we was already here, nonsense. So, I mean, I just want Elvis to respond to that. Like, what?
Well, Steve, I know you're a Christian like myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we know in Africa, I'm African,
All right.
but we know that there are what we call generational curses that can affect the family lineage for a long time. And Donnie's talk about this is something I'm not too familiar with, whether or not this was an actual ritual that had real effects on people. Then you ask yourself, is that effect still going through? Because if they try to tell you that spiritually, you're going to not remember where you come from and who you are. So a person who is seeking self is going to look everywhere else but where they should be looking, which is Africa. So they're attaching themselves to different, ethnic groups and race, but they're not going to attach themselves back to Africa because they're under some kind of spiritual, bondage or forgetfulness. So that's the point that I'm making. Is it a spiritual thing, or is it true ignorance, or is it a mixture of both?
I believe this is what I believe. I believe it's just straight up ignorance because, like I said, like we're not the only people who came through the slave trade or came from that area, whatever else, or whoever this ritual was, whoever they put this ritual on, we were not the only ones they did it to. So that's the point I'm trying to make. So I believe it's just true ignorance. And I pass the mic.
All right, go ahead, Econ.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Respect to Dianis. I know that African voodoo is strong, but I don't have so much what you'd call extensive belief in it for 500 years. I think that white voodoo is what is doing it to us. In terms of white voodoo is a more realistic voodoo. It's like the hand is quicker than the eye type shit. That's how white voodoo works. And colonization is to make you hate yourself. That is colonization in the real framework. A lot of people think it's just living. No, it's to change your mind. So it's to make you hate black. And it's to make you love white. That is colonization. Even in Africa, it's the same thing. So what's going on now with FBA them is the same thing going on in South Africa by the same white apparatus. You see me? Where they are what you'd call using psychological networks online to organize black haters, because they are a lot. They've created them. So what they're doing is organizing black haters in order to counter Pan-Africanism, which is the greatest threat to the United States. You feel me? So that's what's going on. Where in South Africa, um, people are, you have a set of people. It's online where what's his name? Elon Network, he has the most abusive stuff on his thing. It's not censored, nothing. And what they do is censor positive and and promote negative. So the negative people in South Africa get a voice and be talking to the rest of the people. So they get acquire a lot of haters. So because that's the white plan, is to chase out the black ones because they are the army of the black. But the haters don't understand that. You feel me? That the black people from Africa that come in South Africa, if you're smart, they the ones, they your power. And in conclusion, that's the same thing in with America, where the our former heroes understood that we need a black apparatus in terms of black army or black quantity, and that's why they fought for other blacks to come in. Now, I'm not saying other blacks are not ungrateful, because we are all colonized. You feel me? But we are the black army in defense of black people here. Well, I'm part of the army in defense of black Americans here. You feel me? So that's what I'm trying to say to you. Like, it's a white voodoo that's going on, where the white people are injecting money into haters and hating against other blacks, and they're doing it on purpose since I think 2008, 19 or something, when Ghana made $2 billion from black Americans. The American government noticed that, and from then FBA them came up, and all these type of people came up since 2018, 19 right there. And that's the apparatus that's going on in a realistic term. You feel me? It's just a lack of consciousness and a lack of black power and a lack of black privilege um to make us independent or rich. That's what's going on. And
That
as I be saying that our woman is not taking anything serious, and they are one of the players in our upliftment or demise. You see me? And this whole bunch of joking that we doing, because they need to raise warriors, not bitches. Okay, that's it for me. Okay.
Dennis, I got a question for you and Carla. If you let me ask it real quick.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I want to know, in your family, whether it was your mother or your father, were they African centric? They have an identity that was attached to Africa, or was it something that you came into knowledge of on your own through your, whatever, whether it was watching videos or getting connected to Africa? Were your family or your parents strongly attached to Africa? Did it something that you came into knowing by yourself? Same thing for you, Carla.
Well,
Okay, you
well,
want me
my
to answer first?
hold on, Carla. My mom, my mom legally changed her name to Kenyatta,
Okay.
for Jomo Kenyatta. My dad was going back to Africa, back and forth. Um, in fact, he would visit Liberia a lot. So
So you came from a strong African centric culture from your parents.
I would say it was strong, but it was there. It was present.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
Well, same thing with me. I came from a Christian family, middle class, whatever like that. But I tell you one thing: what we had in our home, Elvis, was a lot of books, history books and whatnot. We had history books, African Almanac. We had Malcolm, the autobiography of Malcolm X was there. We had pictures of Fred Hampton laying around. We had Black Panther stuff, whatnot. So the bottom line is this: although we're American and we celebrated the bicentennial 1976, when I was a kid, as I remember, everything was red, white, and blue and whatnot. The African part, remember, so I'm from New York. My mother's from Harlem. So she heard a lot of all these things. Huey Newton, the Black Panther Party, Eldridge Cleaver, and all the people like that. You know, my mother grew up. She went to Malcolm X rallies in Harlem and stuff like that, and there was always Afrocentric stuff in our culture and everything like that. But as far as like me personally, you know, I read a lot of books and whatnot, and I was always fascinated. Then when the movie Roots came out, right? Roots came out in 1977. I was like 8 or 9 years old. Everybody was like, everybody knew, and everybody was like, we're from Africa. We are Africans, right? No matter how what your status was and everything, we knew that our origin was those slave ships. You know, we all came from the South. We all came from slavery, plantation, and stuff like that. It was nothing like, well, oh, okay, somebody got to teach us this. It was just a matter of fact. And then, like I said, and then also we also had people. I remember my godmother, my godfather's mother, Mother Damport. I remember never this just church saved the whole church saved for her trip to Ghana, and she came back and gave a testimonial about when she landed in Ghana and with her people. And everybody in the church was like, "What is Africa like? What is our people like? Do they want us over there? Do they love us?" Everybody has always been in Black America fascinated about, in one way or the other, about Africa. Doesn't mean we're always going to do that. Now, the relationship between us and African immigrants, that's a whole new thing. That's a whole new thing. Maybe African immigrants in Black Americas, we rubbed each other the wrong way, whatever like that. But we always, Black America always loved Africa, always will, and whatnot, you know. And so it's always been like that. No one had to teach us like that, you know. It was Africa was always there. That's the motherland, you know. We would say that motherland, whether we go there or not. You knew you were African, you know where you came from, you know. Yeah, I mean, in the movie Sugar Hill, where Wesley Snipes said to say, "What about we just go back where our ancestors came from?" What's he talking about? Africa has always been in our mind. Africa's always been part of Black American culture. And that's the truth. You know, this stuff like this anti-African stuff is very new. It's
Can I
online,
say something
social
real
media.
quick before Kidola go?
Oh
Uh,
no.
somebody in the comment section says, hold on, let me find the comment. Okay, I can't find the comment. They said something like, so we supposed to believe the white man over our grandma, right? And that's like, I don't know, I don't understand why people say this. Like, people act as if their ancestors or
You know,
grandparents or
some people are Black people are ignorant, right?
right.
And there's always these Black people that say, "Oh, we're Native." Well, you know something in our family, right? Everybody says something like, "Oh, we got Indian in us, we got Irish in us, That's
Mhm.
always been in Black America. But we know when it really comes down to it, right? No one, when you ride down the road and whatnot down the road, nobody's gonna say, "You dumb Aboriginal Native American." They're gonna say, "Nigga." That's all you need to know. When you walk down the street and whatnot, when you walk in a restaurant and all eyes, the music stops and everybody looking at you. Like, remember that movie Eddie Murphy and 48 Hours? They ain't looking at no Navajo, no Choctaw. They're looking at a person of Black African descent, and that's what you represent. That's what you does it do. It's what you know how the world perceives you. You know
Carla,
you're an African.
question. Carla, question.
Guys, we gotta pass
You
the
know,
mic, please. We have people waiting
Yeah,
for.
yeah. Let me pass the mic to Kidola. Go ahead, Kidola.
damn.
Oh, thank you, Dennis. I think Dennis, be patient with me. I don't want to hurt nobody or say anything to say why Kidola is talking like this. I'm from the old school. I grew up when good time becomes something and other things. When my dad came the first time, you see, Africa was big poison in the mind of some of this let me say African descendant that took off from Africa for a long time. Showing pictures, hunger, which was all lie.
That's
NGOs
a
were just
lie.
making money.
That's a lie.
Hold on. Kala, hold on.
Yeah, but you always
Kala,
spreading lie. You always
hold on,
spreading lies.
Kala, hold on. Kala, hold on. I travel around the world, Kala. I'll give you a very brief history. You know, 1979 when my dad came the first time with his second wife.
Me.
She went to University, Agricultural Missionary University, Florida, in Tallahassee. When she came in 1979 the first time, with my half sister the first time, I was shocked. I was I was a small boy. I was, man, where's she from? Man, I said, I run after that lady. I said, her, where you from? I know you look like us, but why your accent is different? She told me, yeah, but Africa too. You know, curiosity, she went, she left, she came back again with the other second child. I run after her again. That's about family. So what I'm trying to tell you, from that time, I have a good experience with that lady by teaching me how to eat peanut butter with bread. You know, I was like, she was telling me a lot about United States. Yeah, I started growing up. By early 90s, I came to Germany to play basketball. You know, that was early 90s. What I'm telling you, talking about 1993, just immediately after my university. Then I met some group of Black Americans. That was my first time I met real that type of group of Black Americans now. These are soldiers, you know, and it was totally different experience. You know, when you want to greet them, they hear your answer, they don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, like I said,
You know?
kiddo, like I said
Hold
earlier,
on, Carla. I'm not.
our
This
experience with
not.
Africans don't
This
mean
is
anything
not
that we
about
don't like
Boomer. Yeah,
Africans.
this is not about. I didn't meet them in United States. I met them in Germany. You know. Then I met also other players from. We played together then in Germany called Patrick Jones and Chris Bagerti. These are nice guys. I mean, because we play in the same team. You know, but some of them, when you with the chick in the club, I was surprised to hear B1 out of people's mouth in this program, man. We talk about these guys were running after white women. When the white woman stand with you, talk to you, they know you're African. They tell this man, no, it's an African Jago brothers. These will not love, especially those ones that look like Colombians inside. When I mean people that look like Smokey Robinson type of family. Then
That
I
was
come
just
a
people. That
Kenta.
was just people dirty macking you, Cadola. That's not the
No. You
representative
could
of all
but no,
African
you could
Americans.
no. Look. Yeah, I understand, but you know, but because they already on that rate that how can this Africa dude? Look. I'm 6'9" by shoes, bro. You know, I'm not like a short man. Then, then after that, I come across the real peppermento now, the so-called the Italians. If you look at the Italians, they have Negroes like them too, like African descendants, but they also that heavily mix also that look like Smokey Robinson tribe. Those people hate Africans too.
Well, not
Except
everybody look like Smokey Robinson hate Africans, bro.
even when you date if you date their girls, their own brothers and sisters can set you up with other of their family members to come and even rob their sister's boyfriend. We will take care. These people they getting good at all in in the Netherlands. These are bottom people. Sometimes Nigeria date them, take care of their sisters, work hard and everything. They even earn a life in Nigeria guy because the sister went on holiday and the dude was the one alone. What did they do? They came to rob that guy because they take care of a lot of money. So sometimes they date Africans because African people are that look like a jazz in their eyes. When I mean, you have money, So until YouTube came to this, I'm telling you, there was nothing like YouTube. And when YouTube now came into the play, that's when I say, oh, is that Africa? The people that hate you now you now to become brother to them. Oh, brother, yeah, man, Africa too. I'm Africa too. Or sometimes they think you're not even educated because you're in Africa. And because Africa is so quiet, we watch before we do things or we react to things. We already know who they are before they ever pray before us. So you already know their boss. Sometimes they say, oh, you're African, you don't know too much about that. Why you already know?
What is your point?
What I'm telling you is this. Kala, don't say that dance to me. Everybody love Africa.
I never said that. Look, Kidola, I never once said that.
Arrested
Hold,
development.
Kidola, that was
Arrested
not
development.
the
Hold on.
question.
when even Arrested Development came 1990, that music that called Arrested Development, who sing about about Africa, most Black Americans, let me just be honest with you, it's not about anything. Most Black Americans don't really like Africa, they're not emotionally connected to Africa. They really hate seeing African, only that we were not visible in the spotlight. It just, even Black Americans alone. That's a touch everywhere. The Jamaicans never accept Africans in UK.
Kidola,
They never.
let me ask you a question. You talking about the everyday people song?
Yes.
Well, Kadolo, you haven't interacted with a lot of African Americans in America.
Oh man,
Germany.
No. I even have them.
Got experience on TikTok, man.
I even have them. I even have them as so-called this thing, man. Once they speak, I ain't dance with that shit. What I'm trying to tell you is this: I've been around the world. I've seen things. You understand me? Africa painting on TV by Voice of America, BBC is all bad.
Hold on. The image of Africa to Black America in the world is created by white people, particularly Jews, that control the international media.
Nah,
yeah, it's the truth.
I mean, let's pass the mic, guys. We're kind of hugging up the mic.
When I was growing up and whatnot, I had to find out positive about Africa on my own. What I saw on the media, I didn't believe it, right? Then I opened up encyclopedia and said, oh, wow, Africa got cities. Africa got this. Africa got that. I learned about Nigeria. I said, whoa. I said, I saw the skyline of Lagos. I was like, oh, that's pretty nice. I saw the
I agree with Carlo on that.
No,
when you look on a regular TV
Nigeria
or television, what I was on
Dennis, are you there?
was kids starving.
Yeah, I'm here. Go ahead, kiddo. You got 30 seconds. I'll pass it to Big Black.
Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you is that this I would say everybody love Africa. My dad, you have to understand, my dad came 1973 he came to the United States, to study. He already experienced it even as of 1973. So that's what he told me that the Mexicans. My dad told me that the Mexicans was far more his friends, in Florida at that time. That he loved the Mexicans. So, hey, amigo.
Africans.
All right, guys, let's pass
Hey, Kala, let the man finish. I got to pass the mic. Go ahead, kiddo. You got 30 seconds.
So my dad already experienced the hatred. That was 1973 when he came to the United States to study. Then he said the Mexicans were his friends. They'll tell you, amigo. They were very close to him, and some of them say, amigo, I'm going home. I'll come back on Tuesday. He says then they cross the border, and from there, they in their country they come back. So don't think that we'll also love Africa because Africa is our motherland. Never existed like that.
I got to pass the mic. Go ahead, Big Black.
Okay. I was looking at the little tree that you said and the whole curse. If the people were in the curse, believe me, that curse wore off when they got on the slave ships. Believe me, after the stuff they went through, just coming to what we call America, believe me, that curse been wear off. What I want to say to Elvis is, what you got to understand is, with African Americans is people 40 and over. We know we most African Americans over 40 know somebody that practiced voodoo in America that were descendants of slaves in America. So just like there's a heavy presence of that in Jamaica, there used to be a heavy presence of that in United States. They snuck it done in on the plantations, but it got past a lot of the voodoo.
South Carolina, Louisiana, there's a huge voodoo presence down there. And it survived in places like Harlem. My aunt was a voodoo priestess.
Yeah, so I knew a couple of people that knew voodoo, and they weren't continental Africans. They were pretty much what they would call ADOS, which is not our name. We need to stop playing around with this FBA cult stuff, man, because we know this is not coming grassroots, right? We know it's being controlled. So we need to stop playing around with this. We know YouTube is pushing it, right? The algorithm is pushing it more and more. So we need to stop playing with this stuff. As far as the African Americans that say that they are Indian. And this and that. Listen, I grew up in the 90s. I grew up in Fort Heights. Fort Heights was known as, at one time, was known as the poorest town in the United States. So I'm from the hood. Okay? Nobody was running around saying they were Indian. Everybody knew that they were African. Matter of fact, if you said you had Indian in your family, people looked at you like you was trying to be stuck up. You know, what do you know, what you think you're a pretty boy, or are you better than us because you say you had Indian in your family? You would get laughed at. Yeah, right. You know, you probably had a white in your family. That's why your hair is not as kinky as ours or something like that. They got laughed at, right? But the internet allows for these type of BS imaginations to flow freely. Okay, people. Yeah, we had a lot of people that some families, a lot of black families that where their grandmother said you have some Indian in you. You know, but that was and a lot of that was a lie, or just, you know, it was false, but they didn't know. They thought that grandparent maybe grew up to think that they had some Indian in them because their parents told them, right? But that when you hear it, it's always grandma, as if we don't have two grandmothers and two grandfathers. Why nobody ever say grandpa said it? Because grandpa knew that was some BS. Okay, so when you hear people say that, usually it's because one grandma might say we had some, but even that grandmother knew that we were primarily African. Okay, and then what you're hearing now too is a lot of people just lying. There's a lot of lying on the internet as far as my grandmother. We never was told we were from Africa. We didn't have any Africanness. We always knew that we. Those are lies. Again, you didn't hear this talk in the 90s at all. You can look throughout our music, right? Hip hop in the 90s. Where was the Indian movement in hip hop? There's still not an Indian movement in hip hop right now, but there was a conscious movement, right? There was a pro-Africa movement.
We had 5%. We had the 5%.
Right. We had X-Clan. X-Clan, those people were, you know, adorning all type of African clothing and things like that, you know. That was one of my favorite groups. We knew we were from Africa. So all this new stuff is just people lying and people that just don't want to be attached to Africa, right? They see change coming, and they know change is coming because they know where black folks are interacting with other black folks, and change is coming. And some of them are afraid because they know with change comes power. They think
that threatens. They think us dealing with Africa threatens their little position that they've been trying to get in their white man. You know, that's what they think.
Right. So we you know, and we just have to, you know, just not play with this FBA stuff like, you know, it's something real. It's a cult, and we need to treat it as a cult. Because that's what it is, an online cult. You know, Tariq, who gave Tariq the authority to try to name us? This man went from writing MacBooks. He wouldn't get the crowd. He wouldn't even have the crowd that he has right now if it wasn't from him pushing Pan-Africanism. If he came from just macking to saying we Indian, you know how many followers? He wouldn't have any followers.
Yeah. All right. Let me be black. Let me pass the mic to Dizali. Go ahead, Dizali.
Well, I want to say peace to everyone. And I really love these conversations when y'all have them, because I just can't help but to chime in, and hopefully I can wake someone up. I like to read the chat while y'all are talking just to see where people's minds are at. And I have to address something that someone said concerning, are they not supposed to trust what their grandparent or their great-grandparent said? Look, we're supposed to be more advanced than our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents. We have more access to more information than they ever did. Our great-grandparents who dropped out of school in the second, third grade, some of them never went. You're supposed to be more intelligent than them. You're supposed to be able to correct them. Y'all know this. Y'all know grandma thought Thunder was the devil beating his wife. Y'all know this. Why are y'all taking? You're supposed to be, your great grandparents would be very disappointed in you with the amount of information that we have, and you're just as ignorant as they are. You
Right,
are,
right.
you,
I was told that's God doing his work. Be quiet while
yeah,
God's working with thunder.
all right.
God's doing his
You
work.
are, all right. You are not honoring your ancestors who worked hard in that field or that white man's house so that you can go to school and be smarter than them. All right, look. We all know that we should know that we descend from Africa. You all are some of you, the more crazy members of you, are trying to present this information that there just happened to be a people who evolved here in America who look identical to tropical Africans. Look, no matter how high up you damn aim, if you're pissing on us, we're gonna know it's piss and it's not rain. We know the difference between an African and even a native that sat out in the sun for 366 days. No matter how dark he gets, we're gonna know that is a native. See, there's this thing that's popular now called finessing, and that's what I see a lot of these people. I guess that's what they think they are doing. You're not going to finesse us with this. Look, these natives, these Indians who are Aboriginal here, descend from Asians. We have archaeology, anthropology, paleontology, genetics. They descend from Asians. Are you trying to say, all my Indians in the chat, are you trying to say that you are Asian? That you would rather be an Asian than an African? See, this is how backwards y'all are. Y'all have us out here in these YouTube streets, in these social media streets, looking crazy, like we down bad. People are laughing at us all over the world. I'm in several groups. People just laughing, saying, look how silly Black Americans are. Do you know what happens to a group of people that's taken as a joke? You don't get reparations. You get harmed. But people treat people who they see as being stupid, they treat them in a totally different manner. You get harmed. Police shoot you, kill you. They already do it, but they do it even more because your people seen as being stupid. You think that you popped out the ground here. You think we don't know the difference in an African and an Indian. You listen to your great great grandmother who never went to damn school. Y'all have us looking bad out here. Stop it. You're not going to gain anything by trying to flip it around and convince the world that Black Americans are the original Indians. Everyone takes world history now. Everyone takes biology. Y'all have us looking bad. With that, I land. Thank you, Donis.
All right, go ahead, M.
All right, thank you, sir.
No, it was my sisters before Donis.
I forgot. Okay, my bad. Go ahead, Miss Sister. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Miss Sisters.
Oh, thanks, Dinus. You know, I identify as FBA, and I just want to say that not all FBA ascribe to the idea that they are Indians. Not all FBA ascribe to the idea and reject an African ancestor. I identify as FBA because I want to preserve the Black American heritage here in the United States. Our history is being suppressed. And unfortunately, many Black immigrants who come into the United States, they are pushing their own agenda. And it is oftentimes a Pan-African agenda. And that's okay. I can respect a Black immigrant pushing a Pan-African agenda, But please don't call me names and talk down to me, because I want to celebrate and honor the hard work and the legacy of my ancestors. And it does not mean it is a rejection of Africa. What it means is that I am an American, and I want the hard work and the sacrifices of my ancestors recognized, and I don't want them suppressed or forgotten. And so that's the point. So not all FBAs are rejecting Africa. There was a sweeping generalization about FBAs, and I take issue with that. Calling us delusional, and many other names, because not all of us agree to that. Now, I'm gonna have to be very blunt here, because there have been some statements made, and um, and I just think that Black immigrants and people and Africans from the continent really have to take some accountability. Just about every Western country, they are removing African nationals. I cannot think of any Western country that has a travel ban against Black Americans. Okay? So, and then so the issue here is this: you have Black Americans who are young, and this is primarily the delineation movement. It's a young movement, and these are people primarily under 45, 50. For whatever reason, and you may not like to hear this, they do not see a gain in identifying as African. Whether you like it or not, for some reason, there is no utility. That's the word I want to use. There is no utility in identifying as African. So the question for Pan-Africans is, what are you going to do to change the narrative so that Black Americans, particularly the young people in our society, want to celebrate an African heritage? So you have to take some responsibility for that. Black Americans did not do that. Many African countries, they are very slow to develop. That's not Black Americans' fault. Many African countries, they are not developing because of corruption in their governments. That's not Black Americans' fault. There has been mismanagement in their governments. And so first, I think Pan-Africans have to take some accountability of what's going on the continent: the tribal wars, the civil unrest, the lack of rights for women in some countries. So I'm just astounded that you're attacking African Americans or Black Americans, but you're not willing to look inward and say, what are we doing that's rejecting a new generation of people? And I'll land my plane there. Thanks, Dinus, for letting me have my say.
No problem. Go ahead, M.
All right, thank you, Dinus. Miss Maya's sisters, always a breath of fresh air. The person who talked before you, the casual disrespect, disregard, and degradation of his own alleged people, it's like it becomes a habit. It's like a consensus. Like you could just disrespect us and think that's going to go unnoticed and unchallenged. You know, you cursing yourself basically. But what I wanted to talk about this conversation as far as Aboriginals, whatever you are, you just casually disregarding and just stepping on our lineage like we're just garbage, like we're nothing. You know, we're unworthy of respect. How you just trashed our old people, but forget that. As far as what I want to say about Aboriginals, Indians, Africans, they're all misnomers. We know Columbus when King Ferdinand and Isabella defeated the Moors in Grenada, the last stronghold, because they had Boabdil betrayed his uncle. He worked with the Spaniards against his own people, so they basically used divide and conquer. But when they came to America, they misnomered the people, Indians. The West Indians, the Caribbeans still contain this name. The same Caribbeans on here dissing FBA about being Indians. They are still considered West Indians. But all of that is a misnomer. Africa, I always say the first Pan-African is Julius Caesar because he called it Africa. He named it Africa, Africa Nova, Africa Vedas. You could deny it. And he married Cleopatra, a black woman. So he's the first Pan-African. But y'all don't want to talk about the Roman Empire being
Cleopatra wasn't black, but go ahead.
Whatever, she was Egyptian pharaoh queen. But regardless of that, I'm starting to believe, and the reason before I'm gonna say that, I think we should have more practicality and functionality with our philosophies. We shouldn't just see it as just a pastime. It should be something active. And the oldest philosophies of the greatest people in the world, I'll say the greatest men in the world, they always believed that there was a God, and this God favored people and gave you like when you went to, I ain't gonna use the W word, but this book I read called The City of Gods Against the Pagans by St. Augustine from Hippo. Basically, St. Augustine was in North Africa in the Roman Empire. He talked about when the Roman Empire went to battle with other empires, it was really a battle to see who God was real. And whoever won, they conquered the people, and the people basically abandoned the God that allowed them to lose. You see what I'm saying? They adopted the new God of these people. So it was basically the gods playing chess with these empires. That's how the whole entire world believed. Genghis Khan, Ptolemy, King Cyrus, Nebuchadnezzar, all in the Bible. You got the book of what's that book? Second Kings with Elijah and Jezebel. Elijah had a showdown with the prophets of Baal. They had a god called Baal, and they wanted to see who had the real God. Elijah won, so they had to slay all of the ones with the fake God, and they destroyed all the idols of the fake God. Right. So the reason I'm bringing this up is I believe that there's a God over every continent, and that God has people in that continent. And I think America, this is our ancestral spiritual land. And people don't want to, okay, you call these Indians and this and that, regardless of what they want to say, this is where we at. And this is where everybody in the world want to be, the most blessed land, the land of milk and honey. They say, oh, you came here by the ships, but yeah, we came here by the ships, but y'all want to come here too. Y'all wish y'all was on them ships too. You know, first order told us we are here. All that matters. And the fact that when Miss Maya
said 20 seconds, I gotta pass the mic.
All right, Miss Maya brought up the fact that the world is trying to get rid of the Africans, right? I think the Africans need to look into the Dogon philosophy, all of those philosophies and religious priesthoods, and start practicing those righteous principles. And maybe whoever's over Africa will start to bless that continent, just like we've been blessed. That's about it.
All right, go ahead, Ameswell. Go ahead, Alpo. Alpo, go ahead. Ameswell. Go ahead.
You call me or Alpha?
Well, I said, well, you got the your PFP is Alpo, so
Alpo the rat.
Alpo the rat. Go ahead, Alpo the rat.
I don't see Alpo nowhere on my joint. My name is
It's Cameron from Paid in Full. That's Alpo. That's Alpo. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm hearing a whole lot of.
Man, how you gonna hold on? How you gonna have Alpo from Paying in Full as your PFP and don't know it's Alpo?
No, I'm thinking you saying the name Alpo. You saying the actual name.
That's who he is. He's playing. It's Alpo.
I know Cam is. I know who Cam was playing in Pay the Fool, but you said it like I had the name Alpo there.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
It's basically a whole. I'm hearing a lot of confusion. I can't say from both sides, but all of us have been lied to, and we a lot of time we be forgetting that. A lot of us be like so sure. Oh, look, no, you wrong. No, just listen to people. They telling you what it is. Like we was all lied to, and we all find our way through the lies and finding out what it really is. And this what it is. Like we Black Americans are from America. We the only true Americans actually. Everybody else was immigrants. Like we could show pictures of everybody else coming on boats. Y'all don't have that of us. You know what I'm saying?
Say that again.
We got pictures of everybody else when they arrived on the boat. They don't have pictures or any documentation.
Hold on.
Don't ask the obvious question. Don't ask the obvious question.
Let me just interject real quick. Let's just stop saying Black America. Just speak for your family and your ancestors.
Yeah. You don't speak for me. I'm Black American. You don't speak for me.
When was the camera invented, brother?
What happened?
When was the camera invented to take photos?
What does that got to do with it?
The Spanish sent painters and artists to draw the indigenous people, and they
that wasn't my question. Let me just ask the brother. So you made the point that there were pictures of the people coming from Ellis Island and so forth, but not the quote unquote the enslaved people who came from Africa. Were there cameras back then to take their pictures?
Of when they came from Africa?
Yeah.
They got the dates documented.
You talk about pictures. I'm asking you, were there cameras back there to take pictures of those people?
They had artists, man, like Michelangelo.
That's not my question. I'm asking the brother. You don't got to interject.
Michelangelo.
He gonna skate around.
Stop
They had artists that
Michelangelo.
I said like Michelangelo. He was ordained by the Pope to draw people.
Oh boy!
Let me stop. Miss Sisters, hold on. Miss Sisters, can you unmute yourself, Miss Sisters?
Yes.
From what you just heard, do you think the school system's failing our Black children?
You don't believe in Michelangelo existed? You don't believe in Michelangelo?
I know he existed, but Miss Sisters.
There's problems with our educational system, but I get what Answell was trying to say. That
Miss Sisters. No, Miss. I'm gonna tell you, you being the educator, Miss Sisters. You be hold on, Miss Sisters.
And as an educator, there are times when I have to meet students where they are, and I am meeting Answell where he is.
Miss Sisters, you are the problem. You are part. See, and that's why the school system the way it is now. Why our kids are failing. Hold on, Mrs. That Miss Sisters. Miss Sisters, hold on. I'm the host. I'm talking. Miss Sisters. That is the reason why Darius Cooks was on there crying, talking about he teaching seniors and they can't read. You are part. Meet him where it's now I'll say this, Miss Sisters. If you're teaching special ed, if you are teaching special ed, then I get it. If you're teaching special ed, I get it. But come on, Mrs. You are a part of the problem.
Dinus,
let me ask you this, Dinus.
Meet him where he's at. Are you? Hold on. I need answers. Hold on. So, Miss Sisters, is that how the school system works now? Meet them where they're at.
Yes.
Oh Lord,
we have to meet with students where they're at in order to start teaching them.
Meet them where they're at.
Yes.
Where's Hustle Smart at, man? We doomed.
By entrance and by test scores, they should be at a specific level to be entered into college.
Test scores. We were talking about Answell's comment about the cameras. His dates were historically incorrect, but I understood the context For what?
Oh Lord Jesus!
What's the context?
Yeah, beat them where they at.
There are documents that people were brought here on slave ships. We have the records. So by his
I'm not disputing that. I'm not disputing that. But Amswell was
Okay, well, hold on. Hold on. So, Miss Sisters, Miss Sisters, I got Miss Sisters. Hold on, I got a question. So, you being an educator, okay, we're in a classroom right now. How would you? I just want to see this in action. How would you meet Ameswell where he's at right now?
How I would meet him where he's at, I would listen to what he has to say first, and then after he offers his opinion, then I would correct him and say, here is where you are wrong. Okay? That is how you meet the student where they're at. You don't allow them to believe or in false information, but you allow them to speak, to have their voice, and then you share the correct information. So Amswell, I think you all were just a little too critical. Amswell was trying to make a larger point. He was historically inaccurate. That's what he was. He was historically inaccurate about the date of
his point was there's no evidence that black people were brought here on slave ships.
I grew up with Chichi. Madam, I grew up with Chichi culture. What you're doing right now is wrong.
From Amswell. Amswell, what did you say?
Madam, what you're doing is wrong. In teaching, there's no method and evaluation.
One second, let's flesh it out, please.
I am you men coming on here telling other people what they should and should not think. Amswell, what was your point?
That was exactly my point. Like, we was here.
No, your point was there's pictorial evidence of people coming in from like the 1800s, from like Ellis Island, but there's no pictorial evidence of slaves coming on ships and being brought into the Americas. That was his point.
Miss Maya, and Miss Maya, real quick, Miss Maya.
Guy, hold on, guys. Amswell, go ahead, Amswell, and let Miss Sister respond.
Is Amswell allowed to edit his comment and revise it and update it? And Elvis, why is your word the only
Okay, Miss Sisters, calm down. Hold on, Miss Sisters, calm down. Guys, calm down. Amswell, go ahead and go one more time. Repeat what you said, and Miss Sisters, I want you to retort and redirect. I think that's the new term now. Redirect. Go ahead, Amswell.
My basic point was we got more evidence of all the other groups coming over here than we do for us. And we also are the oldest people on this landmass. The people who was called Native Americans, they are Mongolian or Siberian. They aren't from here. They actually had schools to teach them how to be Indian. With the feathers, the dances and all that. That footwork, the rain dance, that's us. We do all of that.
That's No. Be quiet, guys. Go ahead, Amswell. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's us with the peace pipe. We still doing the same thing we did back then. We still smoking marijuana. We still got all the same. We still got the tattoos, the gold. We still doing the same thing we did back then.
Do you pour out a little?
Be black. Be quiet. This is between Amswell and Miss Sisters. Go ahead, Amswell.
No, I finished my sentence.
All right, go ahead, Miss Sisters.
Okay, Amswell, what do you mean by we? I'm not sure of that pronoun. Who are you referring to when you say we?
Black Americans.
Okay. I'm a little confused by what you said, particularly as it relates to marijuana and the topic here. I'm just not getting it.
You know, the Indians with is famous for the peace pipe. In all the stories, we've all heard that and seen it in cartoons. We've all seen the Indians smoking the peace pipe and meeting new friends and getting close with each other. That's what we do. We still do it today.
Oh, okay. Well, the peace pipe, that was a ceremonial routine, and smoking marijuana in modern times is more of a recreational drug. So it's kind of not related. Yeah. But as I said before, we just have to listen to people and put their what they're saying into some kind of context. I'm not quite agreeing with a lot of what you're saying, Emswell, but I appreciate your point of view.
Wait.
Lord, big sister.
Wait.
Come on, man.
Can you please address
Lord,
him?
Man. Come on.
Can you please address him saying that we're the oldest, the first people? Address that stuff. That's the more important stuff. You know, you could be a very valuable commodity to your group if you correct these people who have these outlandishly wrong thoughts that they're sharing with people. Can you correct him on that other stuff that he was going into?
Okay, Dizal, what is it that you want? What specifically do you want me to correct him on? What did he say that you feel was incorrect?
Miss, hold on. See, Miss Sisters, hold on, Miss Sisters. You are an educator and a teacher. You listen. You just listen to what this man just said.
Before I render a conclusion, I want to be very clear.
Oh, Lord Jesus, man.
Yes,
Dennis, I raise my hand up. Dennis, please, can I go, please? Dennis, please.
Come on. I think the problem, Miss Sister, you just don't want to correct these Black Americans who are claiming to be Indians. Like, you know, I mean, listen to what this man said.
You gotta meet them where they at.
You gotta meet them where they're at. Come on,
man. Wait.
I'm not going to be Indian.
But Miss Sisters, you're an educator. You know about peer review studies. You know about educators. You know about history, science. I mean, come on, Miss Sisters.
I have said on other panels that I did not find evidence that Black Americans were Aboriginals very convincing. I've told you that before. So
Dennis, can I go, please?
No, hold on, Quidola.
Yeah, I've said that before. I was just listening to what his point of view to see if he was bringing forth new knowledge. I have stated that before. Have I not, Dinus?
Okay, so we'll state that to Ameswell.
I just did. Ainswell, I do not believe your comments about Black Americans being Aboriginal in the United States is convincing based on the sources or lack of sources that you have offered. Okay?
You bogus, Dinah, you bogus.
Most people who is correct, most people who are correct too early get that label. So when you see
let Quidola speak. Let's let Quidola speak.
Madam, I think you're doing a very dishonest job as a teacher. I grew up in an educational family who most of them are teachers.
We're not going to let you sit there and publicly lynch.
Hold on, please.
Him, stop. Come on.
Please.
You ain't going to be publicly lynching Miss Sister. She already said that she had to say it. She conceded.
Please, can you shut up? Can you shut up? I'm not disturbing you. I don't disturb most people. Can you shut up your mouth? Shut up your mouth. Let somebody talk.
This woman is educated. She has more of a brain than you do, Em. She can defend herself intellectually. Let him make his statement.
So, madam, as a teacher, you pass knowledge to students who are novice, who doesn't know nothing. Please. I'm not saying.
Hey, come on. Let's let him finish his statement.
Danny, you gotta control the panel, man. There's no secret cows on this panel. She's a woman. We can engage her intellectually.
Go ahead,
Madam.
speak. And
in education, madam, in education system, meeting a student where they are is what you try to get what called feedback. A feedback after evaluating the whole system. But meeting a student where they are, when they don't have the information at all, they try to decimate. So what you're doing is you systematically disobey the rules of teaching in education system by enforcing the wrong narrative of these kids. The US paid them to sit with their peers in terms of, I don't know, maybe United States does not have what called debating and all these things, in schools. If this is your student, you take this student to another school for what they call knowledge competition. Then you are the head teacher of that school. Then everybody came in also, or come in also with their own students also. Will you be proud of this student that will look like a water boy in that place? It paid a lot. I don't know how you study, how you get your teaching job. I don't know.
Okay,
Madam, this is a disgrace. This is a disgrace. That is, I believe in this show because there's some mediocre in this place.
Okay, Kadola, first of all, Ameswell, he is not my student. I am not teaching right now. He offered an opinion. I provided an opinion based upon what he said and the information that he provided. You know what? He just punked out. He just dropped out of the panel and did not.
Speaking about punking out, let me say this quickly, right?
Wow.
With all due respect to you, Miss Sisters, Ameswell is a man. This is an intellectual platform, and we do intellectual, combating on this platform. Men who think they have the wherewithal to argue on different topics, they stand on their square and they defend their position. When I challenged them, you came to his rescue, and I think that showed that he's like a kid that you're trying to baby. You shouldn't baby this man.
Here,
He can articulate. Yeah, I'm speaking to you, brother. He can articulate his point. The fact that you said that he lacked the capacity to articulate, and maybe you could kind of explain away for him. That was disrespectful. Well, that's what I infer from what you said. And Donis was himself was saying it. That's where you said you got to meet him where he's at. So meaning that he's not on a level. So you got to meet him where he's at and try to elevate him.
But what was the challenge though?
Does not make it true. And also, I was quiet. It was Dinas who asked me to provide an opinion. I was not saying anything.
Miss Sister, don't respond to these people because I've seen them do this to Passport King. They team up on Passport King, calling him a Caribbean. That's what they do. That's their MO.
Bro, I didn't jump on the guy. He made a statement about cameras and pictures, and I questioned him, and he couldn't answer. He didn't have the capacity to answer, so somebody tried to rescue him.
What was the question?
The brother said, hold on. That's not what we're talking about. The brother was making a statement. We have minds. We can infer when we can discern what they really mean when they say something. He said that when those people was coming through Ellis Islands through the 1800s and early and middle of the 1900s, they had pictures of them. They documented them. They took photographs of them. So you have the evidence that they came on those ships and they immigrated to the United States. But with the African Americans, their story is different because there's no pictorial evidence that they came on ships or that they came to the United States, i.e., they're indigenous to this land. They're the oldest people here. The Indians are fake, and thereby the Black Americans are the real owners of this land. That was what he was trying to say. That's why I questioned him. You literally said it a few moments ago that the Native Americans are Mongolians and the original people of this land are African Americans. So why are you denying it? And that is wrong. And that's what Dinas was challenging Miss Sisters because she knows that's wrong. That's not historically accurate.
Putting words in his
mouth.
That
wrong?
Well, was the one. He is the one who needs to make the correction, not you. He's stated or he clarified his point. So Ameswell, what was the point you were trying to make And we will leave it at that. And Elvis, let the man have his say. He can own his own opinion.
Elvis a troll.
Don't help him when I challenge him intellectually. That's the point. He's a grown man.
Understand.
Don't fall for that. He's a troll.
What he was saying.
Okay, we'll give him the floor. Let him articulate his position better. We'll listen to him.
But Elvis, I am a Christian woman, and I rarely say this, but you are behaving like a bitch. Now,
Good golly.
Lord. Christian woman.
I'm talking to the guy. I'm challenging the man. I'm the one behaving in that manner. I'm challenging the man to challenge me intellectually. I'm not running away from it.
I need to talk to your pastor.
Yeah, I'm challenging him. I'm not running away from this intellectual fight. So how am I acting like a bee? Go ahead, Anthony. Articulate your point, brother.
He already went. It's time to pass the mic.
I got to pass the mic. Teddy on politics. Go ahead.
Oh, did she leave? I had a question specifically for her.
Go ahead, Teddy.
My sister. Okay, I didn't see you. What is your, if you don't mind me asking, what is your political leaning? I mean, you don't have to respond, but I'm just kind of curious.
I am a Black conservative. I voted Democrat most of my life, but yes, in 2024, I voted for Trump. Okay.
Okay, that's what I thought. That was my only question. I'll drop off now. Well, that was my question for her.
Okay, go ahead, Randy Fox Media.
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in. Hopefully, I'll catch one that's longer. In the beginning. One side of my parents is from Oklahoma and Texas, and I am African American. And some of my family members do have what we call our Indian number. That's what we call it in our family. When I see these pretendians on here, African Americans that have no logistics, and I'm older. I don't know if you know that, Diaspora, because I don't tell my age. But with that being said, I was very surprised to find a friend of mine from way back in high school that we recently had a conversation.
Hey, Randy Fox, you're going like in and out. I don't know if you're on speaker, moving around, walking away from the phone. Like if you could just talk directly into your device.
Yeah, he started saying something about having Native American blood. There are very few African Americans that can prove it. I happen to be one that can, and we don't do that. Those of us that have what we call, and I'm not from the South or where this particular parent is from, Oklahoma, Texas corridor. But those of us on that side of the family that can prove, we just simply say, do you have your Indian number? All this yada, yada, yada stuff, when you have people, including my friend, just the other day, having a full-fledged argument over what his grandparents or great-grandparents said. There are protocols to being identified with Native American blood. I even have a nephew, which is one of my parents' son's son, meaning that it's not from both of my parents, it's just from that side. And that nephew just married a Chickasaw. So I have in the immediate family, a half Chickasaw, half African American.
Okay, Randy Fox, if I can interject real quick, when you say chicken saw, because a lot of these.
No, I didn't pronounce it correctly. No, I didn't pronounce it correctly because I always have a problem with going to Chickasaw, Oklahoma, and pronouncing Chickasha. I think they pronounce it.
So my question is, when you say chicken shay, are these?
Oh, no, chickas. No, look, you have to. I never pronounce it correctly. If you look up Chickasaw, Oklahoma, that's the tribe.
Okay, whatever tribe it is. All right, now we got to be clear because the argument is that those are the fake Siberians and that the black man is the real. Okay,
exactly. So yeah, no, exactly. And all I'm saying is that within this side of the family, whenever I go to the reunion, we have our reunions in Oklahoma, and we also have them in Texas. We switch off. We do talk about those of us, sometimes it comes up, sometimes it doesn't, that have their Indian number. Those that don't, we just identify as African Americans. I don't have any first cousins that went through the process of identifying with the particular tribe. You have to actually go through steps, by the way. I have cousins or relatives.
Yeah, but Randy Frog, but if I can interject, but again, their argument is that they are the original Aboriginals, and that you're referring to when you talk about that Indian number, those are the Siberians. So
exactly.
I got something after she finished talking.
Yeah, so I just wanted to put that out there because I don't have any relatives, even if they have what we call in that side of the family Indian number, that will not claim that they're also part African American. I don't have it. And next time, hopefully, when you have this discussion again, I can hop on and really go at it, and maybe even invite my nephew that has married a Chickasha. Okay, so I have a great nephew kid running around as an aunt, and he's half Chickasha, point carte blanche. So when I see the FBAs and the pretendians do this, and my friend doing it just the other day, I'm like, huh? And you're going to reference your great grandmother rather than an Indian number? Really? That's what we're doing now? No, I'm not rocking with that because I have one of my parents that are from that region. And by the way, you don't want to be on the reservation growing up in Oklahoma. Oklahoma is the largest territory of Native Americans. That's where they pushed them to. You don't want to, have you ever seen Oklahoma reservation? I highly suggest all these African Americans that they can believe they're Native American, go to Oklahoma's reservations. When you're on it, you're fine. But when you drive to it, it's like driving to, what are those places called? They have a lot in Oklahoma like that. The area where they let the buffalo run free, the buffalo be running free and everything. As you're approaching it, not technically, but it's near there. It's near there. I mean, make this make sense. So not only do FBAs get on my nerves just for attacking other Africans in the Caribbeans, but when I hear these other Black folks talking about, well, my great grandma, and I actually have that in my family, it makes no sense to me. And no, it's not right if you're a teacher. You definitely want to guide. And really, American schools don't dive into African American history at all whatsoever. But you don't want a kid running around believing they're Native American and they do not have their, what we call in our family, that side, Indian number, period. Okay, I'm out. I'll have to catch the one next time. Thank you.
Oh yeah, Dinas. Like remember you validated the Tuskegee Institute teaching American Indians. Now they have pictures. They actually have pictures of how they look. Now some of them look like the Siberians, but some of them look black. You could validate that right now if you wanted to. You can show them.
What do their hair look like though?
Some of them look black. Now when
they have Afro hair.
What do their hair look like?
Some of them look like black people, and some look like
what do their hair look like?
I mean, you could just look it up. But what I'm saying is the Sioux tribe usually are blacker than the Siberian. But
Dinas, please let me get 10 seconds, please.
The indigenous students in that school, they have pictures online right now. You can pop it up.
Yeah.
That's about
Dinas, I would like to ask Miss Myers Sisters for an apology. I think she's an elder. She's a respectable woman. I think maybe that was out of character. Maybe she would like to apologize so that she can continue to, have the respect that she earned by being an elder.
Apologize to Passport King.
I'm not speaking with you. I'm speaking to an elder. I'm speaking to an elder with respect. So I will ask her politely for an apology, and if she would like to apologize for that outburst.
Elvis, I do apologize, and
don't apologize to this troll.
And please, I did. I did lose my temper.
You're gonna
And I
solicit an apology.
should not have called you the B word. That
All right. Thank you. Apology accepted.
Please.
I think that we really need to talk about what the brother Ainsworth was saying, because I think we can actually get somewhere with this. So I would like to ask the brother Ainsworth with what the teacher told you. Do you recognize the error in some of the things that you said earlier? Things such as Black Americans basically are the original people here, that natives are mongoloids who were just recently brought over and taught a language like 100 or 200 years ago. Do you understand the error in that information that at one time you considered to be true? Brother
When I was
Ainsworth?
when I was in the second grade,
Your name is not Amy. Your name is not Amy's life. He's not talking to you.
Let me give a better starting point. My starting point is that these textbooks was written by the invaders.
Okay.
So if that's the narrative that everybody is pushing, it has to. You feel what I'm saying? If we
All
being
right.
taught by the people who took over and want to change history, why wouldn't you question what you was taught?
Okay, stay right there. Stay right there. Stay right there. Now, even if these invaders who we don't necessarily have to like, even if we don't like them and they still have taught us things, and they have shared with us things that we use every day. We speak English. We we don't question them when we go crank up our car, when we go look at the food in our refrigerator, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that phrase that we have to question everything that the colonizer said is a cop-out, and it's not just what they said, it's what professional people, Black, Indian, Asian, white, all people. Like, we all know that there are Black people of the profession now, Asians, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that the information that was provided to us, even if we don't like it, it has been verified now. Do you understand that, brother?
By criminals?
Criminals, whoever.
If they criminals, they could do all the verifying they want. I'ma still see you as a criminal.
So you're claiming that every Black professional is a criminal?
No, I'm talking about the ones who wrote the standard, basically, who put the educational system as it is today in order.
Yeah,
those people who wrote those textbooks, who taught the educators and all of that, they were the people who had the malevolent intent.
Well, let me ask them this: what about our ancestors who wrote about our time here?
We had some ancestors doing shit too.
I mean, a lot of them had firsthand knowledge. They were more closer to the truth. We had historians writing back in the 30s, 40s, 50s.
Hey, when I was in the second grade, my librarian, she was a white woman. She showed us a documentary about them building Wall Street. The indigenous people that was forced to build Wall. They have videos of this. Them people was Black. You can look it up right now. Them people that was forced to build Wall Street in New York was Black people. They showed me that when I was in the second grade, and it was like this was the same time when they were showing us Shaka Zulu.
They were Black, or were they like? Hold on. Where was Wall Street built?
It was in the 1800s. They had Black people build it, and then when they died, they built right over their bodies. Like, it's crazy, but they have pictures of these Indians, right? They all Black people. I think Old Dirty Bastard from the Wu-Tang Clan here, a tribal member, also Flavor Flav.
Oh Lord Jesus.
They are.
They literally tribal
Stay
members.
right
They have IDs. It's crazy, but you can look them pictures up. But it was when they forced the Indians to build Wall Street. They all was Black people, but they called them Indians. You can Google it right now and get their pictures of them building Wall Street in New York. If you want to see evidence.
Okay, so your point is that there were Black people here who looked like tropical Africans. They were already here.
Yes, they
all
called them
right.
Indians.
They called them Indians, but they
An
were,
indigenous
let's
person
just,
would not call himself an Indian. Go ahead.
all right. So there were black people here, Indians, who happened to look like West Africans. When and how did they get here? Why did they not mutate or lose any of their melanin on their journey here? When and how did they get here, sir?
I mean, you do the research, but I'm telling you, when in that documentary, you can look it up. They was all
Sir.
black people that they called Indians. The white man called them Indians. That's not what they called themselves. So when that
Okay,
lady came
sir.
and talking about you're not an Indian with a number, that's just a POW. That was after the Trail of Tears.
Yeah,
And
right
this
now we
is
don't have
I'm
enough
gonna hold
funds.
you. I'm gonna hold you right there.
They indexed these people and called them Indians. That's not what they called themselves.
Do you have
I'm
any
gonna hold you
primary
right there where I had you. I'm gonna hold you right there where I had you, because you can't squirm around that. When and how did these black people arrive here? There's a certain way that we can answer questions in 2026. We don't give a 18th century answer in 2026.
I'll tell you this. I don't want to
You have
hog up the time, but I'll tell you this. When I made my first statement, I mentioned that I'm starting to believe the spiritual aspect and the aspect of the gods. And I think that every continent has a people that's indigenous and they have a separate God. I think we have a different God than the gods in like Asia or Africa or Europe.
Let me ask you a question,
Why we're
Em.
still existing, and that's where we're flourishing, is because we must be doing something that's pleasing to the God. And when Miss Sisters talked about how the world is rejecting Africans, I mentioned that I think they should start listening to their priests and start following those principles and making their life get blessed.
Hold on, Sam. I'm talking. That's a great point. So what? So you being an indigenous Aboriginal America, what's your God? What's your culture? What's your food? Like, tell me more.
I will tell you this. I thought about this a few days ago, and the symbol of America is the eagle, and the eagle represents justice. So I think the righteous survive in America. That's the law of America.
You didn't answer
Justice
my
and
question.
courage.
I'm asking. You did not answer my question. You being an Aboriginal part, part of the lineage that were already here that built Wall Street. What's your culture? What's your God? Like, what's your food?
I
Like, tell
would
me
tell
more.
it. I would tell it to you. Now you're not going to accept it, but they found the Hebrew scriptures in America. I think the
Oh
Bible
Lord.
is
Oh
our
God,
original
man.
religion. I think that's our original religion, and in that religion, it teaches us in the Bible that we are not to sin. It's Deuteronomy 28 talks about the blessings and the curses.
So the
If
God
you
of
do
Israel is
right,
ruling over America. Who's ruling over Israel
yeah,
right now? Who's ruling over Israel?
America. I mean, Israel is a people, and I think when we do righteous, it's like little Dirk. He was
No,
doing
there's a
little.
landmass called Israel. Who's ruling over that area in the Middle East?
That's what Britain gave. That's not that's a
We're
land
talking.
that Britain
You
gave.
said
Talk about the people.
geographical places have gods ruling over them. Who's ruling over
Israel
the
is a
Middle East
person.
and the Israelis
Listen,
right now?
I will tell you what the Bible says. Israel is
Oh
Jacob.
boy.
That's Jacob. The children of Jacob that was enslaved in Egypt for 400 years. That's Israel, and they have a
They're
covenant with God.
Israelites, people who
And
are
the
from
covenant.
Israel.
Let's
Then
read
there's a
this.
landmass called
The
Israel.
covenant says that the children of Israel are not allowed to sin, and if you live righteous, you will have endless amounts of blessings. Now, when they look at us having all of this endless amounts of blessings, it really doesn't make sense. So the only
Are you out of your mind, Em? Black people have been crying about being, discriminated against, racism, poverty, all of the things. You think you're at the very top?
We're not allowed.
Hold on, guys. So just to get clarity, the religion, the indigenous religion of the Aboriginal black man is Judaism or Hebrew. Oh Lord.
Oh my God.
So
Em, let me ask a question.
One of the African dudes said it yesterday. He said they need to come back to the children.
That's Lewis, man. We not. Come on.
There must be some truth to it.
I've got a question for you.
No, hold on. I want to bring on. So, Miss Sisters, you being an educator, how would you meet him at his level?
Okay. As I said before, I am also looking at this not only as an academic, in terms of the evidence or the sources not being available that M is talking about. But I also am viewing this from a personal perspective. And Dinus, I've shared this before on your panel, that I have family members who have stated that we have Cherokee Indian ancestor in our family tree. And we wrote the Cherokee Nation trying to confirm whether that was true or not. And this was many years ago. A family member wrote the Cherokee Nation to try and confirm whether one of our ancestors was a member of that tribe. And they wrote us back and said that there were no records available. Now, I don't know what that meant, whether it's they didn't have the records or they refused to disclose them. Now, just because I was not able to confirm an Indian ancestor, it does not mean that someone else is not able to do so. So that's why I, as an academic, I'm a little skeptical, but personally, I hope someone can find or can confirm their Indian ancestry. I hope a Black American can. So that's where I'm coming from.
Let me ask you this real quick, Maya.
I got family that's
hold on, sir. Sorry, hold on for a second. Now, with that being said, Ms. Maya, could it also be true that you have mostly African ancestry, even though you have some Cherokee ancestry?
Well, as I said before, and I've said this many times, I recognize my African ancestry. I do, but I do not call myself a Cherokee or a native Indian. I don't do that. So, but I identify as Black American, FBA, and with African descent. I cannot confirm Cherokee heritage. But it doesn't mean that I am going to discourage someone else from trying to find out. And there was someone who was holding maybe a tribal card, Seattle. Yeah, if he wants to come on, let him talk.
Well, I guess right before, I think the main problem a lot of people have is that people that have, let's say they really have some Native American. I know some people that, there's most likely some people that maybe have some Native American, maybe like, let's say 3 or 4%. How does that trump 85% or 90%?
Well, Big Black, we have an opportunity, right? Let's ask Seattle, how did he qualify to get that Indian card?
Yeah, because Seattle actually has a go ahead, Seattle.
How did he qualify? It doesn't trump any. Am I able to talk or not?
You gotta mute the playback.
That's you echoing.
All right, cool. So yeah, it doesn't trump anything. We're still predominantly have West African descent. But what it does mean is we're not going to ignore it and throw it away and act like we're just some generic African.
No. So Seattle. God, can you hear me? Can Seattle hear me?
He has a delay, Donis. He has a delay. So you have to pause the playback.
That's what we keep trying to get y'all to understand. You can take one look at me and tell I'm not no 100% African.
Who says that? You are African looking at you, brother.
African. Sorry.
Seattle,
how do you think you look?
Seattle be on them Obama phones. Seattle, you got to stop calling them on them Obama phones. But again, he recognizes that he's majority West African. The argument is you got folks on here that are saying who are obviously West African, saying they ain't West African at all. They Indians. That's the problem. So Seattle's an exception.
I want to know how he got the card, Donis. What was the qualification? That's what I want to figure out. Did he do a blood test? Did he have an ancestor that
in his ancestry?
Genealogy.
In his ancestry. Now, I can't speak for him for sure, but most times their ancestry, if they, the tribes that had slaves, after slavery was abolished, and it was no longer, it was against the law to have slaves, they integrated their slaves into the tribe. And they actually became members. Before, they were property of the tribe. So they became members of some, not all of them, some of them. So that's how some people had got, you know, became tribal members. That's why they had the card.
And I had a friend that
kind of answers your question.
Yeah, because he's on here right now. I would like to hear from his mouth how he got the car and what was the qualification.
I had a friend that they actually do a blood test. I think you had like have to have like at least 2 to 3%.
Hey, Seattle, hold on, Seattle. You be Seattle now, brother. You be calling in on these Obama phones every time, Seattle. Something be wrong with your phone, Seattle. You be calling on these Obama phones. Please call in on another device so we could dialogue, because you just be calling on the Obama phones. Go ahead, Tony Red. Then after that, Skywalker.
Yeah, I don't think nobody is necessarily denying it. People might deny it if they haven't found the disembarkment papers, you know, the slave ships, the slave manifest, and all of that. People might say we ain't found it, you know. So, is it possible that we could have African ancestry? Yeah, it's possible. But what we're saying is we ain't found it, and what we're speaking about are the things that we have found within our lineage.
So Tony, are you West African? Do you have West African lineage in you? Yes or no?
I'm not from Africa. I'm from America. I don't know.
But
I have
I
not
don't think that
found
was
no
the question.
disembarkment. I haven't found no disembarkment that's saying that I come from Africa. So it's possible, but I haven't found that to be true as far as my paperwork for my genealogy as of yet.
Dynasty, he forgot where he came from. You know, probably went
No, I didn't
around that
forget.
tree.
I didn't forget where I came from. I've been in America for as long as I know, from
So
at
is there
least the
evidence to prove that your
1700s.
people are indigenous to this land?
It's evidence to prove that I've been here since the 1700s
Yeah,
in
through
Indian
slavery, right?
territory. In Indian, no, some of my people was free in Indian territory before 1776.
No, but there's evidence to prove that Africans were brought here on slave ships. There's evidence. You can't say there's no
Yeah,
evidence
but
for that.
there's also evidence that the Negroid phenotype has been in America for
No, that's not
11,000
the
years.
point. We're talking about this landmass, right? So let's engage for a second. There's
We're talking about
evidence.
America, right?
One second. We learn it in school. We've seen documentary. We have black professors and academics who tell you the history of enslaved Africans on this landmass. So there's evidence to that.
Yes, it's evidence that 200 to 400,000 African slaves made it to the North American. Yeah, there's proof in that.
Right. So
There was
what
already
do you mean
people.
there's no evidence for it then?
There was already people here. There was
all
already
right,
people here too.
so Tony, so my question is like, what's your indigenous language? What's your culture? What's your traditional spiritual system? Like, what is it?
You do know this is a disingenuous question, right?
It's not a disingenuous question.
Very
It's
I
really
mean,
legitimate.
not. No, it's not. It's not.
it's very much so. But my culture would be like more of having like family reunions and gatherings, cookouts, stuff like that. Even
Tony,
the word
Tony,
like
Tony,
even the
Tony.
word hallelujah, even the word hallelujah is is to this land. I mean, it's
I thought
certain
it's
different things.
kumbaya and not hallelujah.
I don't know about kumbaya. I know about hallelujah. That's what we say in my culture where I'm from. We say
Kumbaya.
hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hold on. Let me.
Hallelujah is a Hebrew word.
Um,
Oh Lord Jesus.
I had
now
to
look it
come
up.
back up just for Tony. I had to come back
Look it
up
up.
just for Tony. Mr.
What's up?
Tony,
What I
if
do?
I'm hearing you correctly, you are saying that you have not found any African ancestry. Did you find any ancestry that was labeled or termed Negro?
Yes.
All right. So, do you believe that natives were the Negroes?
No.
All right. So, why were those relatives termed Negroes?
You said what now?
Yeah. Why were those relatives that you found that were called Negroes, why were they called Negroes?
They were called Negro because it was illegal to call them Indian after 1924.
So, you only went back to 1924?
No, I went to the 1700s
All right. And you found people that were called Negro. Why were those people called Negro?
because they were black.
Okay.
Ah.
All right. So those
That's not a
black
got you.
people.
There's
All right.
black Indians. That's not a
All
got you
right.
at all.
Hold on. So those black people that you found, where do you think those black people came from?
They could have
Negro
came from
land.
America. They could have came from America. They could have been here in
America.
America. Could have
All
been.
right.
Could have
So,
been from
all
America.
right.
Could
All
have
right.
been
All
from
right. All right. All
Africa.
right. All right. Got you. So when and how did those black people get to America? Did they pop out
Well,
the ground here? Did
well,
they
like I
jump out the
said,
sun here?
it's proof that the Negro phenotype has been in Americas for 11,000 years.
No, 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 no.
Where? Where's that
All
Yes,
right, all
proof?
yes,
right, all
yes,
right, all right,
yes.
all
Yes,
right.
yes, yes. Negro phenotype been in America for
Point us
over
to a source
11,000
for that.
years.
Point us
Yeah,
to a
you're
source
gonna
for
lead
that.
through these sources. Please do.
Okay, I got you. I got you. The Luzia woman and the 75 other scores that they had
Okay.
grabbed with them, with the Luzia woman. Yes.
Hold on, let
Okay,
me get my phone.
stop right there. Have you read the update on the Lucia woman?
Yes, I have.
And it said what?
They said that they said that it's mongoloid because they
Ah,
did because they
Okay, all
did.
right.
Hold on, I'm not finished. I'm not finished. I'm not finished because it's not a got you either. They never tested. They never tested the DNA score of the Luzia woman. They tested something around it. Nor did they test the DNA of the other 75 Negroid phenotypes. Neither. They did not test those. They never
So
took a
you
DNA sample from the Louisa. They never took a sample from the Louisa woman, and then out of where them scores were held at, that building had caught on fire. All throughout history, it's been known as a Negroid phenotype until 2018. They had a fire. Once they refurbished the building, then all of a sudden now they got this new DNA that's saying that it's mongoloid, but they never tested the actual score to even know if it was mongoloid. The score still to this day is a Negroid phenotype. It
do you
always
know
will
the
be because the score will
methodology they
never
use to
change.
come to that conclusion? Because that's a scientific conclusion.
No, it's not. It's
Okay.
not. How
All
can
right,
you
Mr.
test
Scientist.
if
Thank
you're
you.
going to
Thank you
get?
for your input.
If you getting my DNA, you can't just find a random person
What's
and
your
take their
profession?
DNA and say it's mine.
Are
If
you a
they did not
pathologist?
test,
Are you a paleontologist?
if they did not test, if they did not test that score for that
What
particular
is your
DNA
qualification to question their testing and their methodology?
because they didn't test the score,
What is
they
your
didn't
who
test it.
told
qualification?
you that they did not test the skull?
Google, Google will tell you that
Oh
they
my
didn't test the
God.
score. Google will tell you they could not, they did not get no fragment off of that score because they said it's too old and too fragile. They did not. Google it
They
right now.
have other methodology. That's why you have
Man,
to
I
be in
don't
the
want. I
field to
know. No,
understand it.
no. There's no. I don't have to be in the field to understand it. I know what a
Oh boy.
phenotype is. I know what a
They
So
phenotype
can
is.
get
so
you. Go ahead, brother.
I know what a
I don't want to.
phenotype
so
has.
so
Phenotype. Hold
let's
on. So
take it
tell me.
here.
Hold on. Wait. Has
Hmm.
phenotypes
Hey,
ever changed? Have the Negro?
can I
Hold on.
go?
Wait.
You know, I've been waiting
Have the
patiently,
Negro?
guys.
Have the
Please.
Yeah,
caucus? Have the
Skywalker never
Caucasoid?
talked.
Have the
Yeah.
Caucasoid phenotype? Have the Caucasoid phenotype ever changed? Yes or no? Has that score ever changed? Yes or no?
I don't know what you mean. Every white
Have
person don't have
the
the same score. Don't you know that?
it's
Gentlemen,
called a
this
phenotype. They
dude,
You
have the
got. Well,
same
let's pass the
dude,
Yeah,
mic,
phenotype.
please. Dynasty, you got to pass the mic.
Go
They
ahead,
have the same
Skywalker.
phenotype. What are you saying? The phenotype
yeah.
always is going to stay the same. That's how
Okay, so we,
anthropologists know who you
okay,
All
are.
right, we got to go ahead, Skywalker.
yeah. I mean, because there's no use
So
to
the so the
arguing with people.
phenotype
Hey,
so the
Hold on,
phenotype
brother.
We
never
passed the mic,
changed, but
Let's
Tony.
the
We
go.
passed the
DNA
mic,
did.
Tony. We
That's
passed the
sticky.
mic. Tony, we passed
Yeah,
the mic. Go ahead,
yeah.
Skywalker.
And there's
Especially
no
when
use
we
to
know that
arguing
they
with
Tony,
already
we passed the.
reclassified us.
Go ahead, Skywalker.
yeah. It's no use to arguing with people. Who just. I mean, like it's it's no amount of evidence that you could put in front of these people to convince them otherwise. And that's what makes me really feel like that it's fabricated. That is like uh it's fabricated. Like it's what I mean. It's
So
a situation.
you deny
Hold on,
phenotypes. So you deny
hold on,
phenotypes.
bro, hold
Post the
on,
link, Dynasty. Seattle wants to come back up.
bro, hold on.
Go ahead, Skywalker.
Yeah, but like I was saying, that's what makes me feel like it's fabricated. Now, I know I was just looking in the chat before I got on, and it was some guy named L Euro. You know what I'm saying? I was like, why? I don't know one black person that would call themselves L Euro, right? And a lot of times I think that the people in the chat and many of the people who frequent your chat, you know what I'm saying, because your chat is such a popular Pan-African platform, such that agencies and government and people who supervise these type of platforms have all the interest in the world to chime in and to not only listen to some of the theories and things that people have to say on this platform, but also engage in a kind of interruption in the dialogue. And that's what I'm usually getting here. You know, I mean, because there's no type of financial interest in claiming to be some type of indigenous dude. Then you got the Hebrew brother over here who's trying to use a book where a snake can talk and oceans can be divided as support for his argument. You know, I mean, that alone is like my son coming in there and trying to use Harry Potter to support his argument for, you know what I'm saying, me, you know, putting him in Boy Scouts or something. I don't know, you know what I mean? But you know, that alone is foolish, right? And the Hebrew thing is the thing I'm worried about the most, right? You know what I'm saying? Because I can't stand, you know, I mean, I hate to see our people, you know, remove their eyes from what's really happening in the world, the true realities of the world, the true problems that they are faced with in the world for a fantasy world, for a world of fantasy. And that's all this Hebrewism crap is. I mean, this dude had the nerve to get on here and talk about that you know, being in America, mean that you survive if you're righteous. Yet he's on here literally trying to, you know, use a book where fantasy and things that cannot occur in the world that we exist in as support for his arguments. That alone is
Hold on.
ungodly.
Skywalker, 1 second, Skywalker. Hey, if you go, I got a question for you, real quick.
Yeah.
Do you believe in
So can
Noah's
I ask
Ark?
y'all a question?
Tony, we're not talking to you,
If y'all
Tony.
using,
We're not talking. Golly, man. Go ahead,
Absolutely.
So you believe in Noah's Ark,
Absolutely. I will tell you why. Because it's also referenced in Zoroastrianism in Persia. It's a story that I think is absolutely true.
There's a story about a flood that's
Okay, can I
everywhere on the
continue?
world. It's not
Donnie,
specific to Noah.
Go ahead, Skywalker.
Okay. Okay, well, see, the problem with the Bible and the problem with these Hebrew fanatics is that the Bible is a symbolic book. Like I always say, the minute that a snake utters a word in the Bible, then everything after that has to be taken symbolically. That means that reduces the book to interpretation. That means that we can't get fact out of it. All we can do is interpret, and you sitting around and trying to interpret poetry is pretty much counterproductive when we should try to interpret the reality that we're in, the problems that we exist and how we can deal with those problems. But trying to turn the world into a fantasy book and trying to pretend as if that fantasy book is applicable to the problems that exist in the world is foolish. The book is symbolic. Now, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with analogizing the book, right? They're saying, hey, look, this problem is kind of like our problem. We do that all the time in law, right? We have to do that with cases. Have to say, look, hey, this particular fact pattern that the client brought to me fits this case that was, you know, decided a couple years ago, right? It's kind of like that, right? You know what I'm saying? But to say that, hey, we are the people in the book is reducing yourselves to fairy tales and literally to, you know, to the mind of a preschooler. Right, you know what I'm saying? But trying to say,
Wait a minute.
and saying, you know,
are you trying to tell me that
can I continue, man?
A little decorum, please. A little decorum.
Hold on, a little decorum, man. Hold on. And so, like I was saying, you know, like to say, you know, to now, it's one thing to say, I'm a Hebrew. That's like my son.
That Bible,
let me finish my point, bro.
That Bible.
Bro, see, look, we got an agent trying to interrupt the dialectic, right? You know what I'm saying? Let me finish. Because you guys talked a long time and I waited, right? Now going back to what I was saying about the Bible, you know what I mean? You know, it's one thing to say, hey, look, I'm a Hebrew. That's like my son coming to tell me he's Spider-Man, right? He's trying to inject himself into this fantasy world that was created by white people called Marvel, right? There's no difference. And it's exactly the same thing for somebody that's saying, hey, look, I'm a Hebrew, a fictional group of people invented in a fictional book where snakes can talk, right? But it's another thing to say, look, how our experience is kind of like this fictional tale over here. You know, that's a whole nother thing. Ma'am, hold on, man. Ma'am, you're gonna get your time to talk, right? And so that's the problem, you know, like with this whole Bible thing, you know what I mean? It gets black people out of touch with reality and in touch with interpretation, such that in a situation when I say, look, hey, look, a snake's talking in the book, they come and say, oh no, serpent means, you know, a man who's deceptive, right? It don't mean serpent, right? Then this other dude comes say, well, no, it mean this, and so on. Then this other preacher come and say, well, no, it mean this, and but you can't get that from 2 + 2 = 4. Can somebody, now don't get me wrong, 2 + 2 = 4 can have a different application, right? And that's when I spoke on the last panel, and I said that math and science ain't necessarily universal because it needs to be tied to a particular purpose so that it can produce for that purpose. But this is different. This is literally trying to inject yourself into a fantasy world when you literally exist in a world that's not consistent with the book. Right? Snakes can't talk in the book. Oceans can't be divided in the book. I can't go touch somebody who is lame and be able to walk again. That means that the book is symbolic, and therefore it is supposed to be looked at in a symbolic way. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's lines and verses, millions and billions upon billions of verses of poetry that I learned from, right? Even though like Aesop's fables, for instance, right? You know what I mean? Which snakes are talking, foxes are talking. You wouldn't see me walking around trying to pretend like that world is consistent with the world that I live in. But I still can learn from the morals that underlie those stories. And that's what we're supposed to be doing with many of these religious stories. We're not supposed to be pretending that that they are real. Those were just ancient people speaking symbolically like humans do. So that is a great mistake on our behalf, and it's caused us to get out of touch not only with who we are and the problems that we need to be dealing with, such that we're sitting here arguing about stuff. It's like me sitting here trying to argue with my son about whether that Spider-Man's real. And I'll land there.
Can we hear from Seattle, please?
Yeah. Go ahead, Seattle. We want to know how. Unmute yourself, Seattle. Unmute yourself, Seattle.
Thanks so much.
Let I pass the mic. Go ahead, Miss Sisters. I think you want to respond.
Yeah, Skywalker, I identify as FBA, but as I said before, I recognize my African ancestry, and I do not I cannot at this time find evidence to support that Black Americans are Aboriginal to the country. I'm
That's
just
not the claim I'm making, ma'am. I promise you. Yeah, you know,
But Skywalker, I do take exception to you attacking Christianity. Hey,
look, if you want to defend the white man's religion, it's your business. I'm sorry. I'm not going to defend the religion that's been used to enslave Africans.
You gotta let her finish.
Hey, Skywalker, you gotta let her speak, Skywalker.
No, you're right. You're right. Okay, go ahead.
I respect people of all faiths, and I would never attack, someone's article of faith, no matter what it is, even though I may disagree with some of the elements in their particular book of worship, but I respect other people's faith, and that's just something that I wanted to say. To call the Bible symbolic and to reduce it to fantasy, I just can't let that go.
So snakes talking is not fantasy?
Can I respond, Skywalker, please?
This argument ain't gonna go nowhere because this.
Yeah, I mean, exactly right. Because these people have been brainwashed. You know what I'm saying, such that they are out of touch with the world that they exist in. And that's unfortunate because many of our people are suffering from it. They are murdering and killing each other from it. And don't get me wrong, you can't just you can be a commercial fanatic too, which is what many of our people, young men in the inner cities are suffering from, such that they have become commercial terrorists, and where Africa is suffering from religious terrorists. So don't get me wrong, people can be brainwashed.
Skywalker, is divinity confined to our physical world?
Is divinity confined to our physical world? No.
Okay.
What I say,
that answer your question, brother. Let's pass the mic.
Yeah, because I believe passionately in God. But God gave us willpower, and He gave us a mind, right? And to believe in a symbolic book where snakes can talk is not to use your mind. God gave you a mind and he gave you willpower. Black people are not exercising their mind, nor are they exercising their willpower. They're sitting around arguing about things that are completely irrelevant when they need to be unifying and confronting the problem that exists in the real world, where snakes can't talk, where there is a race that is weaponized, that has guns, weapons, and are in a
One
position
second, one second.
to straight up
Dynasty is on the
subjugate you
panel,
and
right?
dominate you.
Dynasty is on the panel. He's a partaker of voodoo. Do you know what role the snake plays in voodoo?
No, but we don't believe like so when it comes to doing the e-file, we don't look at it like you guys treat Christianity and in the Abrahamic religion.
It's like I know, but the snake has a role in voodoo, right?
Actual religion.
Right, but again, we don't treat it like you guys do in Christianity. It's completely different. Like you can't compare the two.
Hey, let me respond to Skywalker because he invoked my name like 3 times.
The snake was very important. One more thing.
No, you gotta let him speak. Let him get his chance to speak.
Actually, I need to pass it to Seattle Sankofa because go ahead, Seattle. Unmute yourself, Seattle.
Pause the music, please. Okay. First of all, let's clear up the first things first. Your boy don't got no Obama phone, so let's knock that off. I got top of the line phones and I got top of the line service. It's the app that cuts it out sometimes to where I can't hear other people speaking for whatever.
You got virus on your phone, bro.
You got Obama phone. Go ahead.
Whatever. All right. now that we got that out the way, can you share my screen right quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Now go ahead.
That's one of my first ancestors that's under Dawes Rolls. The guy asked how I got my card. It's through the Dawes Rolls, and you have to trace everything from your birth certificate, to your father, to your grandparent, great grandparent, great, whatever, so forth and so on. So when you look at this gentleman, what do you guys see? Do you guys see that? What do you guys see when you
biracial?
Yeah, he looks like Frederick Douglass to me.
Hold on. My question is: he a freedman or is he?
He is Choctaw. He's a Choctaw. Okay, now
is he a freedman or what is he?
No, he's not a freedman, brother. He's Choctaw. That's what I meant when I
like
fully
freedman. He definitely has Negro in there.
You think he's fully
his hair? Choctaw? His hair is Negro hair. He looked like Frederick Douglass, if I'm being honest.
Right. Yeah, he looks biracial.
You can. That's totally fine. I'll take biracial. But this, you guys asked me, so I'm explaining to you. So don't come attack me when I'm explaining something to you.
No, you asked a question. That's why we're responding, brother.
Yeah. I'm just showing you guys something because you guys don't know everything about Black Americans. You don't know everything about our experience. You don't know everything about our family trees. You don't know everything about our specific lineages. Some of us really are related to Native Indigenous people of this country.
Right. I agree, Seattle, but again, no, but Seattle, I agree, Seattle, but
now I'm not denying that I have. I'm not denying that I have.
Right. So Seattle. Can you hear me? So Seattle, the point I'm making is like, so. But you are the exception, like you're rare. That's the point I'm making.
Brother, time out. I'm not, because if you go to Oklahoma specifically, because that's where everybody had to go from the Trail of Tears. My ancestors left out of Mississippi. I know this is really small here, so I can't really see it, but on the back of this it says Mississippi Choctaw. Okay, that's where my ancestors left from. And
no, but Seattle, again,
but
y'all are
still in
but what I'm saying about Seattle, what I'm saying is your experience and your lineage is rare. No, but I'm the host. I'm the host. I'm talking. So what I'm saying is your experience is rare because the majority of Black Americans don't have this. That's the point I'm making. But go ahead.
But how do you know what the majorities have or have not if you have not done a DNA test? And I can't even say I know what the majority of Black Americans have because I haven't tested every Black American. So you can't speak for everybody because you don't know. Now,
the majority of Black Americans aren't on tribal rolls. Don't have a tribal card like you.
That's fine. I'll give you that. That's fine.
They don't.
What I am saying is this. I respect you, host. I understand what you're saying. But what I am saying is this, brother. If you go to Oklahoma specifically, because that's where the Trail of Tears, they brought all those Native American Indigenous folks, they made them settle there in Oklahoma, where there's a heavy, large percentage of foundational Black Americans that also settled there. So Oklahoma is definitely one place that for sure when you're talking about foundational Black Americans, a lot of them have some type of indigenous blood in them from living in Oklahoma for over 60, 70, 80, 100 years plus. That's all
I
that I'm saying.
agree. I
So
agree.
it's by
And Brother
proximity and
Sankofa,
intermixture. It's not by because they were the original people. It's because they mixed with the indigenous that's there.
So with that being said, we're not going to ignore that, and we're also not going to act like what I'm saying is, for most of us, some of us, not most, but some of us, we have closer direct relationship and lineage connection with indigenous Native American people of this land versus we do from our African cousins who we got disconnected from 300, 400, 500 years ago. That's what I am saying.
Can I ask a question?
Brother Sankofa, you know, I remember you from the Sonetta show, right? That is you, right? From the Sonetta show. All right. I just wanted to make sure it was you. Peace, brother. You were real heavy on you. Yeah, love. You were real heavy on your African tip there, though.
And I still am. I don't deny that. But I'm also still real heavy on the look. I've traveled to Africa a few times enough to know that I'm not African culturally. I don't speak the language. I don't eat the food. I don't like Afro beats music. I hate that shit. I'd be ready to turn it off and put on some West Coast music like where I'm from. Okay. So
I have a question for you, Seattle.
Well, hold on.
Mac Dre, those are the Mac Mall. That's the type of music. I don't like the Afro beats. I'm African. Hold on, let me finish. I'm almost done because I got to kick it with my people. I am African ethnically. I do have African ethnicity. I do descend from African people that were forced to leave Africa from being sold by their own family members.
Man, that's not true, man. Come on.
Can I finish? Can I just finish a statement and then you can say whatever's not true when I'm done? I promise you I'm about to be done. What I'm saying is, yes, I am African. I'm a descendant from Africans that were forced to enter slave ships and come across the transatlantic slave and pick cotton in America and have an ethnogenesis with all of those different African tribes that had to forge together forcefully from the slavery, which made a new group of African people. We're not just Yoruba, we're not just Akan. No, we're a mixture of many different African tribes and a mixture of European and a mixture of Native American, all mixed into a new people that were forged here in the United States of America. That's foundational Black Americans, the Black folks that have been in this country before the 1500s, 1600s, the 1700s, for sure. Okay, that's what we were saying.
So, Dennis, let me ask him a question, please. Just permit me. So, what did you have to do, Seattle, when you went to whatever office it is to get this card? Did you have to show?
I didn't have to do nothing because it's all through my birth certificate. My father already had this. His mother already had this. Her dad already had this. They had to sign up. Do your information, your research about the Dawes Rolls. They had to sign up at a certain point in time, and my ancestors literally were forced to walk from Mississippi to Oklahoma. So
that's what Dennis is saying. You're in a rare 1% of people that have that lineage.
No, it's not rare because I know a lot of people.
It's rare. It is rare.
Dinus, if that's what you want to say, you can say.
It's not what I want to say. It's rare, Seattle.
It's the truth. It's rare.
It's rare, man.
Can I say one more thing before I get
Hold on, Seattle, Sankofa. Hold on, I'm talking Seattle. You are the first Black American that I've seen with this card.
No, I'm not. All my brothers got this shit.
Seattle, I said that I've seen. I said that I've seen.
Go to Oklahoma and talk to more people.
Well, Oklahoma is 1 out of 50. How many states are there? 50 states? Oklahoma's 1 out of 50.
Yeah, but it's one of those states that will give you a lot of answers because you have a lot of Black people there with a lot of Native American people. You can get more answers.
Nah, the Black population in Oklahoma is relatively low.
Well,
what you have is adjacency to Native American.
So Seattle, what's the percentage of Black people in Oklahoma?
Oh, I don't know that, brother. What you tell me? You might know that factor off.
Well, he said you make it seem like it's a lot.
Oklahoma got a lot of Black folks in there. I'm from Seattle, so of course it's
what's the percentage of Black people though? It's not a lot, man.
I don't live
there. It says between 270,000 to 290,000 out of a state with millions of people.
And those are mostly mulattoes. They just like saying it.
Hey,
7.9%. So 8% of the population.
I don't know nothing about what I'm talking about.
Does he have like resentment for his African ancestors? I feel like he
I gotta pass the mic to King. I gotta pass the mic to King Shinar. Go ahead, King.
You sound stupid, nigga.
Yeah, peace.
Well, you gotta use the word on here. Go ahead, King.
Yeah, I got a question to the I don't know who was speaking earlier, but he said something about I don't know, the dude that was talking earlier. If you can mention his name.
Seattle
Was it Skywalker?
Who was it?
The dude that was whining about something Oklahoma or
Seattle Sankofa.
He just left.
Go. No, he's still here. Go ahead. Ask your
question. Do you believe that Black Americans are like more culturally African or American or anything else? Like, what do you think?
Okay, I would love to answer that question as long as nobody's gonna start speaking once I start speaking.
Go ahead.
Cool. I would say from my experience in going to Africa a few times, I would say that we are definitely culturally American. I am not an African culturally. I don't like the food. I don't speak the language. I don't know nothing about the common customs that they have going on over there. I went over there for a vacation about 3 times. I'll be going back again in February. I love it. Do I feel like those are our cousins from the 1400s, 1500s before we was kidnapped and brought over here to America? Sure, yes. But do I think that we are culturally African? When I step off the plane, they don't treat me like, they don't even look at me like no African or treat me like no African or none of that. Okay. Do they treat me well? Yeah, they're not rude. They're not mean people. Do they call me certain names that I hate, that I really dislike as a Black American? When they get to calling me Mungu and Wazungu, y'all say whatever you say about it. That's cool. I don't care. I don't like it. I'm never going to like it. I don't care if it means
Did someone call you that?
I don't. Of course, I got that shit everywhere. When I was in Tanzania, I got that shit everywhere. And
But you say you're married to a Tanzanian woman, right?
Whoa, can I speak? He asked me a question. Now you're asking me another loaded question. Let me stay on topic with the first one. I don't got all day to argue with y'all.
Yeah, let him talk, man. Let him talk.
The people over there are good people. They're sweet people. But is there some ignorance that happens? Yes. When us Black Americans go back there, we're not treated as continental Africans or brothers and sisters. We're treated as a money bag and as Americans. What you got, nigga? Put it in my hand.
Hey, Seattle. You can't use the N-word on here.
That's my bad. But that's how they.
So why did you use that word? Why did you use that word?
Believe it or not, I even had some of them trying to say. You asked me. I'm trying to tell you. When I went over there, I even had a few of them try to refer to me as that, and I had to say, whoa, because it didn't sound right the way they said it. It sounded hella weird. It's not like
I feel you.
What kind of food do you use? What kind of food do you use?
Can I goddamn finish a statement without somebody talking over me? Golly, like that is crazy to me. Okay, when I go over there again, they try to say, "What's up, man?" and all this, and it's hella cringy. It's like, yo, you don't even know. You're not really from FBA. You don't know how to say it, when to say it, how we use it, or none of that. So just call me my name. I'll tell them my name. I'll be like, yo, brother, don't do that. That you're embarrassing yourself. Don't do that to yourself. You're a continental African. You're from here. Don't try to do like what you see on TV. Don't do that. You know what I mean? But other than that, they're good people. They're not bad or nothing like that. But is there some ignorance that happens from a lack of education and not knowing Black American history? Hell yeah, it is. And it needs to be fixed. It needs to be a lot of education going on.
My question is, you marry a Tanzanian woman, right?
That's none of your business, to be honest.
Well, you said that on the platform before, so it's not secret. It's not a secret.
That's perfect. And now I'm going to tell you, we're not talking about that.
No, I'm asking that because it's relevant. So if you have kids who are half African.
Don't nobody want to hear about his family and his kids.
You know, so when you try to disassociate yourself with Africa, you literally marry an African woman, probably have kids who are half African. So what does that mean?
All right, let me talk because you said something. Now let me respond. My daughter's mom is, if you took one look at her, you would think she was from Africa. Hey, I got witnesses in here. When you look at my daughter's mom, hold on. When you look at my daughter's mom and how dark skinned she is, when you look at her, don't she look like she just came from Africa, from Ghana or Nigeria or something? Hello, you guys say yes or no? Even my first daughter, who's almost about to be 17, even she is African, silly, genetically, ethnically, but we are foundational Black Americans, doofus. Excuse me. I say that respectfully.
That's not what I asked you, brother. Why you getting offended? You marry an African woman, you said you marry a Tanzanian woman, right?
Because you try to start talking about if I have kids with her, they're going to be African kids.
What
They're
are you
going to be
majority
African
of?
just coming from me.
Right. So why are you getting offended? You marry an African woman, there's nothing offensive about it.
Personal questions is irrelevant.
And your African tribe is the foundation. You show a Native American ID card.
Yes. Oh, whoever just said that, I'm so glad they said that. Yes. My tribe, yes. I'm so glad I heard that
But
in
I'm
the
saying,
background.
are you majority Native American or African? I'm the one that said it, bro. Hold on. I'm the one that said it. I'm just gonna be clear. So you cool with saying, hold on, let me say this. You cool
Y'all
with
just gonna
saying
team up
that
on this
you
guy?
hold on, you cool with saying that your African tribe.
Skywalker. We don't need a dissertation. You just let him finish.
I'm gonna ask
Go
the
ahead.
question. I'm asking the question, Dynasty. Come on now, dissertation. Come on now, you being funny, got jokes. So just one But at a look, time, man. so you, are you cool? Are you cool with African Americans? I mean, calling yourselves the African tribe that's the foundational Black American tribe. You cool with it?
Okay, so you asked a question, I want to answer, but I don't want to start speaking and have everybody speaking over
Okay,
me.
now go ahead, answer the question. Go ahead.
Am I clear to speak? Okay. Right now, I love the fact that we're growing into realizing that our tribe is the foundation of Black Americans, because when I was over there in Africa, anytime that I ran into foundational Black Americans in the airport and passing or at the hotel or whatever, we could instantly tell by just how when we looked at one another or heard one another speak. And the type of love and camaraderie that we would have and feel like for a moment, like, damn, like when we're chopping it up, like, where you from, brother? Like, oh, I'm from here. I'm like, oh, I'm from there. So we felt a certain type of camaraderie. We felt a certain type of energy amongst each other and a comfortability amongst one another. So yes, my tribe is the foundation of Black Americans that pick cotton, tobacco, and sugarcane within the South of America.
Bro, when you interact with these Africans, do you look into how you behave yourself?
No, my God.
Do you have any self-awareness as to how you behave and the reactions to it?
Don't let the online get you fooled.
I don't think y'all interested in like growth and development.
I don't understand that point just now. What do you mean by that question, brother? Can you ask that question again?
Y'all just
He just asked me.
Yeah. Can you ask that question?
Phrase your question to me again.
I'm trying to see if he has any self-awareness as to like when you talk to people, are you aware of how you talk to them and your tone or anything like that?
Do you think I'm a rock? You asked me if I have self-awareness. Do you think I'm a rock?
It's a simple question, bro.
To me, I'm sorry, but to me, I don't want to say it's dumb or stupid, but it's a dumbass question. Of course, I have self-awareness.
All right, it's a dumb question. All right, so it's a dumb question.
I treat everybody
the way that I was raised. Can I respond to Skywalker?
Go ahead, you got the floor.
Peace and love, y'all.
All right, yeah. Skywalker made some false statements. He claimed that the only evidence I brought was the Bible, but I also gave them photographs they could look up.
No. You didn't give us any photographs.
I mean, I gave you something you could reference.
Did you give us any photographs? Yes or no?
I mean, I didn't put the link in there because I
didn't give us any photographs.
But I did reference things other than the Bible to prove my point. He said he just came with the Bible, you know.
Yeah,
and
you didn't reference anything.
I referenced the documentary I saw in second grade that showed Black Indians building Wall Street.
What's the name of it?
Building Wall Street.
Building Wall Street. Hold on. Where can I find
Look up photographs of the people who built Wall Street in New York in the 1800s.
We gotta close out soon. I need the link to the documentary.
I mean, if I was to do that, I would get kicked off the live.
I'm not kicking you off anything. Just give us the link.
No. It's just how my phone is set up. If I leave this page, I'm gonna get kicked off.
Okay,
I'm on my phone.
So you didn't give us anything. Those are the facts.
Okay. Next time I come on the show, I had the links already loaded up and saved up. You see what I'm saying? That's about it, though.
Still one righteous, man.
I looked it up and I went on Google and look for pictures of people building Wall Street. It only shows me about Black Wall Street. It doesn't show me
I'm
anything about
talking
New
about
York.
Wall Street in New
That's what
York.
I'm saying. I looked
Wall
it up. I
Street.
wrote the prompt, and I didn't see anything connecting Black people to
Okay,
building the
okay.
Wall
You
Street.
just, I mean, confirmation bias. I actually saw the
No,
documentary.
I mean, African slaves were involved in building Wall Street, but again,
I
African slaves,
mean,
not
they
Native
weren't African
American
slaves.
Indian.
They were blacks, man. I would take this. My comments about this show is, I think we should come to some common consensus. If y'all want to hear our information, why we believe the things we believe, you should come with an open mind. It shouldn't just be they from Africa and America trying to convince
What do you
us
want us to be
we
open about?
Africans.
Like, what do you mean?
All we're asking for is just the proof. That's all we ask for.
Wait, so where are your ancestors? Like, what's your identity?
Dinah, we are in America. There's nothing they can do about it. I mean, they can tell us we
Right, but if
space,
if you're saying you're Aboriginal, I just want the proof. That's all I'm asking for.
I'll tell you this: in New Mexico,
and then another
you can
thing
look this
too
up.
is if you was Aboriginal,
Look this up. In New Mexico, look this up. Listen to what I'm saying, right? In New Mexico, they found a tablet with Paleo Hebrew. That dates back before Columbus. Paleo Hebrew. Look at that tablet and look at those letters.
The Mormon guy, I think his name is Joseph Smith. He claimed that the Native American are from one of the tribes of Israel, right?
It's true. It's actually true.
Yeah, but that wasn't you. That was the native, the long
How do you know who it was, man?
Because he said it, because he described them in his Book of Mormon.
You don't want the truth. You can't have
I'm
the
telling
truth.
you, what he described as the Native American, they're the long hair Indians that we know today. He said they're from the tribe of something like that.
I respect the African spiritual systems like the Dogon. The Dogon teach that their ancestors came to Africa on ships, just like Noah's Ark. That's what the Dogon teach. Their ancestors came by ships.
If you're trying to use that Paleo Hebrew to point that African Americans are Hebrew Israelite, that's not evidence to that. It doesn't point to that.
Evidence of pre-Columbian Hebrews in America that was blacks.
Where do you get that evidence from? What's the source for that, M?
Hebrew American. I mean, just do a Google search.
Man, everything is just based on it.
You literally stealing somebody.
So what's your identity, man? It's Paleo Hebrew Indian.
That's how ignorant you sound.
Y'all not interested in hearing us out. You just want to tell people.
You went from you being Native Americans to being Hebrews. Come on, brother.
I'll tell you this. Elvis, if we're not Hebrew Israelites, right, how do we get delivered from slavery? How do we get out of that?
Civil War.
I mean, don't you know how it happened through the Civil War?
The Civil War.
I need to raise the other way. That's
oh boy, what did Jesus come back with the Hebrews and free you, M?
I'm tired.
Nat Turner.
Nat Turner freed you? Are you crazy? They killed him. What are you talking about?
Nat Turner was 1831. That was like 29 years before the Civil War, man.
I'll tell you this.
Wow.
Hold on. I'm talking. When was the Nat Turner? SMH. Hold on.
I'm having a headache, bro.
Put that boy down, man.
Hold on. I'm talking. Stop interrupting me. Okay, last question. I'm gonna pass it to SMH. When was Nat Turner's rebellion? What year,
Yeah. Well, I don't know the specific year. So you got me. It was in the 1800s.
18 what,
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know everything.
All right, we got past the mic. Go ahead, SMH. Go ahead, SMH. Go ahead and mute yourself, SMH. And then we gotta close out. SMH, unmute yourself. All right, let me pass the mic to Mansek. Go ahead, Mansek. Then we gotta close out. Mansek, unmute yourself.
Y'all can hear me, right?
I hear you now. Go ahead. And we're closing out.
Okay, man. I hope everyone's doing well, man. How's everything? Let's talk to
a lot of pretending.
What happened?
I said a lot of pretendingism in the chat, man.
All right,
Yeah,
well,
I
go
mean,
ahead, man. Go ahead, man. Say.
okay, no, I was just saying that, like, you said where this come from. I mean, have you ever noticed that every couple years, man, there's always a new identity. I mean, again, you have, for example, the Moorish Science Temple, Nation of Islam, Hebrew Israelites. The thing just keeps going on and on and on. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, nothing's going to change. And I guarantee the next 50 years is going to be another identity and something on top of that. Uh, and also to add to the conversation, because the other dude left. And what the hell I was going to freaking say? But pretty much, yeah, it's not going to change. It's just going to keep continuing, man. The names are just going to keep piling up and stuff too. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but but I did. Hey, Daddy, did you read the super chats?
Yeah, let me read them right now. My bad. Yeah, then we got to close out. Unity is strength. Thank you for $10 holla. 600,000 Black women have lost jobs over the past year. Modern women only submit to the men that provide for them. I don't care if you FBA or African. If you employ these women, I support you. Respect be one. Cameron Breezy Goat 903. Thank you for $9 holla. The Maya Lady is an old fool. FBA is a cult. Cameron Breezy Goat 903. Thank you for $9 holla. If the Maya is so ignorant at her age, imagine kids. JCE, thank you for $9 holla. Cleopatra was Greek of Ptolemaic dynasty. RNTV1, thank you for $5 holla. Ask Sankofa to produce the birth certificate of his ancestral lineage before the arrival of the pilgrims from the 1500s. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe to Next Time Family. That is Amir Search for Real Peace.